Let's roll, rolling and let's thug. We here to bring the truth. Jar open this podcast. We breaking through the fake news. They try to silence us, but we will be subdued. We're bearded alpha males here to save the youth. Spitting fire on the mic with the bass Christian takes. Exposing the lies, keeping the demons at bay. We ain't afraid to speak up. We won't be swayed. Jar open this podcast where the truth is laid. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas thug, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. We ain't playing games, we're on a mission to awaken the masses with our intuition. Pulling out the corruption with no inhibition. Jar open this podcast, sparking a revolution. We're not afraid to stand tall in a world full of deceit. We're the voice of reason, bringing light to the street. Keeping it real, never missing a beat. Jar openers podcast, where the truth meets the heat. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas thug, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. Jar open this podcast where the truth will never cease. Join us on the journey to bring back peace. We're rolling Atlas thug, fearless in our release. Jar open this podcast where the lies will decrease.
I gotta unmute myself. Welcome in. Jar Openers Podcast, episode 18, starting off with the muted microphone. How do you like that? Glad to see everybody that's here already. See a few people piling in. We are up on Rumble tonight as well. So I see a couple of people over there. Appreciate you guys for stopping in and checking us out, trying to get the Rumble channel back up and going. I've been kind of neglecting it lately, but I think I'm just going to mostly stream for a while. I'm not sure if I'm going to start posting videos back over there or not right away. But anyways, I'm Tyler, your host. Over here on America First TV. We're also up on X. I'm at Worrell over there, so make sure you guys on X are hitting that share button. Follow me as well. I'll try to follow back most of the people that follow me, especially if you got the blue check mark. I don't know. I'm kind of pompous when it comes to following people without the blue check mark for some reason. I don't know. I don't follow parody accounts either. I mute all of them. But anyway, Atlas, you want to let everybody know who you are, where they can find you, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I am a co-host here on America First, or I guess we're not America First, on Jar Openers. Forgive me, a little bit retarded this morning. You can find me on YouTube at Atlas Thug. You can also find me on X as well at Atlas_Thugged_. Find a lot more of the same. I'm the resident Christian nationalist here. I post a lot of things in that framework as well. And I also got a brand new mic. So if there's any issues on my side or I sound too quiet, please let me know. I ran about 10 minutes worth of live testing with this. So if there's anything wrong or you hear anything weird, please let me know in the comments. I will adjust accordingly.
Cool. So far you sound great. I assume it's coming through nicely. I try to zoom it in. Do you got one of them things that covers up like the mic, like it's like a shield in front of it, or it's kind of dark there?
Yeah.
I can't tell.
Yeah, it's got a surrounded by like a pop filter, similar to how your Shure microphone is.
Yeah.
It's got mine's just a square. It's a big
Oh,
fat
okay.
square. You can probably see the XLR extension here to the back end. Yeah, let me see if I can frame it a little bit. Swing it around.
It's kind of dark. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. I wasn't sure if like you maybe had one of them circle things that hangs over in front of it that you see somebody have. Sometimes people have. I'm not sure. I've been considering maybe getting one, but I don't think I need it with this actually. But I don't know. I just feel like
no, it's like the pop filter.
Yeah, I feel like I need all that.
It's better for like singing.
Well, I don't sing well into the microphone at least. I only sing in the shower and in the car.
We could start. We'll sing our own intro.
Right. Where the truth meets the heat. I love that line.
Yeah, AI for the win.
Yeah, for real. I actually just got a happy Thanksgiving card from one of my aunts, and she as she watches apparently sometimes, she said we put on a good show, and she was curious how we came up with that song. So if you're watching right now, it was AI. And I believe you wrote the lyrics, right? Or did you?
Yeah, so I had another AI that's like a writer. It's in the craft, the same thing we make our outlines with. and I just played around with it. And now it's like, generate a song about red pilling people and about how everything is fake and something along those lines. And then I think I took two different sets of the lyrics, put them both in there, and then the AI made one of the best things I've ever heard.
I know, right? It's funny because usually when we get off the show after hearing it right at the end, I have it going in my head for a little while, usually till bed. How's it going, TNT Cycles? Hey JB, glad to have you guys here.
Howdy, howdy.
How are you guys liking the new 6 o'clock start time? I'm curious what you guys feel about it. For me, it feels like it comes way earlier than just 2 hours prior than it used to be honest, because we usually be on at 8 for those that don't know. But it gets here fast. And then so tonight we are going to review basically we'll kind of continue the list that we started. Oh, you like it, TNT? That's cool. I'm hoping Southeastern Trucker pops in tonight. He's been commenting on my videos and stuff like that, and I like that guy. So, anyways, hoping he shows up tonight. He's been saying some nice things in my comments on my my daily videos, which I appreciate and all that stuff. But I don't know if you have the list queued up that we kind of started, the rating thing. We might get back into that.
Oh yeah, the tier list. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have the pictures or not, but I figure we'll kind of continue back with that. What we started. Did we start that last Friday or last Saturday? I mean, or was it actually before that?
Might have been 2 weeks ago, actually.
Yes, went by fast. But yeah, I think we kind of get back into that, and then we have some other things to check out tonight. But basically, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I've been trying to see this comment here. What was I gonna say? You threw me off, JB. Gosh, what are you doing? No, I'm just kidding. I'd like to say congratulations to Jesse Smollett for getting off scot-free. What a wonderful legal system we have. I know, right? I mean, a lot to say about that, but I won't, because I don't want to put a former friend on blast. But I have somebody that can relate to a similar situation, and they ended up spending 10 months in Leavenworth for it. So, yeah. Hey there, just
I
me.
did see there was like an update to that.
Yeah. Did Alice
Did I wear
sunglasses
sunglasses all day in the sun? No. Do I look like I have the eye effect? No, I did not actually. I think I'm just getting old. There's a
You
nice
look a little
comment.
sunburned.
It's a good way to let me know I'm looking old. I think it also might be because of the hat and the way that my white light in front of me is shining down while I'm wearing this hat. Give me those what do they call them? Coon eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Guess
sure.
I'm wearing makeup, I guess. I need a makeup team over here to help me out.
Right. But we got a couple other things we're gonna get into for fun. Kind of near the middle of, if you guys didn't see, yeah, better than that house, Leotardo. Or better than yeah, raccoon. I was thinking the other thing. Better than the other thing. Panda eyes.
Oh yeah. I was like, okay, I know what you're talking about.
We'll leave it. We'll just leave that right there with that. But
look that up on your own accord, please.
Yeah. And be ready
at your own risk too.
Yeah. Don't look that up, really. But yeah, we got a couple. We got one fun one to get into. You might have seen a little back and forth on X between Laura Loomer. I would almost call her Lori. Laura Loomer and Tim Pool, and that was pretty funny. We're gonna play a little clip from that, and then
Milo's always fantastic.
Oh, I know, right? He's such an anomaly type of person. Like, I don't know, just it's a weird dude, but seems extremely in the know and intelligent, yet ruthlessly mean and like gay, but not. And I don't know, it's just weird. But yeah, I'm definitely entertained by him. That's for sure.
What's crazy, because him being essentially, what would you call that? Former homosexual, at least as far as I understand,
That's what I
and someone who
understand.
also exists on the alt right. He's like an insane figure. But he's put his money where his mouth is, right? He's been deleted off of platforms before. He's kind of playing within the rules now. But more specifically, you have him kind of walking the walk with Christ now too. I think that's probably been one of the more shining parts of his comeback into this space. There's like an
Yeah.
article even pointed to on that Tim Pool segment talking about how, you know, he's I forget how they word it, but essentially it's like he does a lot of good work and does a lot of good things for the entire kind of Trump admin and the people in that sphere.
Mhm.
But they just can't name him. It's like it's like he who should not be named. I think
Right.
he worded it like the Jack Bauer of the group, where it's like he's there and he does all this work, but you just can't you can't say the name.
It's all behind the scenes. Hey, what's up,
Yeah.
Ohana? Good to see you. Yeah, right. I posted a video today on one of his back and forths where he basically uh made an excellent case in a debate with Elad Eliyahu. I'm probably saying his name wrong. I know his first name is
Yeah.
Elad
You
Eliyahu, I
close
think is his last
enough.
name. Yeah, he's a co-host or a employee of Timcast, and he sometimes goes on the IRL. And he's kind of a controversial opinion. It doesn't necessarily align with some of the rest of the folks there. It seems like,
He's
and
pro-war.
yeah, it was funny watching Milo. Like at one point, he's like, "I really hope you're not thinking about promoting this guy to your whatever position to Tim," and he
Yeah.
just was ripping all over him. It was actually rather entertaining
It was
for
like
what it
warehouse
was.
correspondent, something like
Right?
that. Like,
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Um, but the whole time, Milo is actually making an excellent case of how America was founded with a Christian foundation by the forefathers, and I liked how he said it. And then and just how he was able to like go into such like detail almost. It's kind of weird. Like I said, the dude's just an anomaly. He's got a database of information that I don't think a lot of people have.
he's I like him a lot. I think he's extremely useful. And especially with him and his feud with all the other he who should
That's
not be
right.
named, him like doing his book tour. It's like,
Yeah,
writing that thing about how he's the mentor for Nicholas Fuentes.
right.
It's just hilarious. So it's like you have two sides of the coin with the alt-right and what directions they can go in.
Yeah. Oh, I see TNT Cycles like the show over there on X. Appreciate you for doing that. It helps kind of spread it around when folks do that. So let's see here. Let's start with well, probably the hottest news was that recently, and we talked about this on our Wednesday show, and we had a lot of speculation as to why and what was next as it relates to Matt Gaetz dropping out of from his nomination. And I've noticed just off rip in the last couple of days, the mainstream media and a lot of these folks are basically saying that he dropped out in light of these investigations. They like to try to frame it as if it was because the investigations and things like that. Where the reality, in my opinion, at least, is what's been conveyed to the public from Matt Gaetz is that there was 4 Republican senators that were basically gonna fight him on it, and it potentially could have went on for months to try to get him confirmed. And he wanted to make sure that whoever Trump nominates for AG is able to act from day one. And so, kind of fell on his sword, I guess. I don't know if it's fallen on his sword, but just gracefully bowed out at that point so that he can allow Trump to work as efficiently as possible. Although, I think it was worth the fight. And, those four Republicans wanted to make such a fuss. Just let them get primary, let them become the scapegoats, or not the scapegoats, the odd ones out. What was it called? The black sheep of the Republican Party there. Let it be known, get them primaried, and which one was obviously, or not ironically, Mitch McConnell, old bitch McConnell. Uh, this dude is so anti-Trump, and he needs to retire. I mean, the guy's a dinosaur. I can't believe the dude's still able to do what he's, the thing is, he's such a moneymaker from what I understand. He brings in a lot of big campaign donations and crap like that. And it's a shame that that's even a factor as it relates to these folks being in those positions.
I guess if I had an overall sentiment regarding everything that's happened since the last episode we have regarding all that stuff too, I think we even saw, and you might not have seen this as well, I think Matt Gaetz posted a Florida flag on someone saying that he's going to run for governor. I don't know if you had seen that before we went live, so I think there's a
I didn't see that, but I did see something where he was claiming that he's not going to actually be a part of the 119th, that he was basically retiring from being a representative in the House, which would be crazy.
Yeah, I think overall everything about this feels bad. I literally, I named my YouTube video "Feels Bad," man. I think everything we've gotten in terms of news since the Matt Gaetz withdrawal has been abysmal, to say the least. And we have this like intro post here from 9mm SMG, who I think is one of my favorite accounts to follow on X. And that's just like a great descriptor of exactly the way that I feel about what's been going on. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and read it, World.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is me. The post says, "This is me mentally watching Trump cabinet appointments. It's been an emotional roller coaster. It has reinforced my absolute hate for the United States Senate and what's needed to get someone approved. We went from recess appointments to red flag law Pam Bondi to Dr. Oz. I started out pretty positive. Gates, Homan, Musk, RFK in the only position I trust him in, and Hegseth. Now, I won't. Now, ... Continuing, I won't doom this administration because it hasn't even started yet, and that'd be silly. Even if nothing got accomplished, it is vastly better than the alternative. That said, come January 20th, it's accountability time." And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Getting Trump elected was just the beginning, and now it's time to hold all these, leaders' feet to the fire. Anytime they do something good, we'll pat them on the back and then never be satisfied. These people work for us, and it's not just one thing that they need to get done. It's a series of things that we need them to do, and stay, vigilant at getting multiple, everything that we need accomplished. And these people, I'm not about the victory lap until the job is done, basically. And I don't know, maybe I don't know. I was gonna say maybe I'm the only one that thinks like that, but I honestly, I think a lot of people are in the same boat.
I'm the same as you, and I also got a strong feeling that it's maybe wasn't even time to do a victory lap, not until we see some good bit of results a little bit further down the line. And yeah, we have the comment here showing these are the individuals who are going to block Gates. I think the only one that we're missing is McConnell. I think Mitch McConnell will also add that to the list.
Yeah.
And, it just gives you a really poor feeling. And I think I even said this on the last show, a lot of what I saw right with the withdrawal of the Matt Gaetz nomination was the feeling of the 2016 red tape, hands tied behind our back. Like, please do not let this happen again. Please do not fill the entire administration up with individuals who would do nothing but stab you in the back, lie about you, run to the press, and do what they can to make their little careers out of doing something that stops Trump. We kind of see a lot of that where, these judges who are doing all these cases were like, with their idea that like Trump is going to lose in the 2024, that they can make a name for themselves and start their careers off by making just such a kind of hyper fixated case and news story narrative by going after Trump. Overall, I feel like the guy on the right-hand side there of that image, like that's where I'm at currently.
Right.
And we're going to have a few more of these picks we'll go through. But I think the main one has to start with the fact that Pam Bondi is who was chosen as AG to replace Matt Gaetz for the nomination. But again, I go back to that thing with the recess appointments, right? It kind of feels like a slap in the face that we get floated out these recess appointments. And hey,
Yeah,
even if they're not going to confirm these guys, like, you know what? We're going to do it anyways. And
right.
then, oh, actually, we're not going to do that at all. We're going to once again play ball with the deep state. And it's like,
Yeah, it's like they're
I just
too
don't get
worried
it.
about the optics. That's one thing, and I mentioned this before. I don't want Trump to fall into worrying about the optics. Yeah, I don't care if it gives the mainstream media that nobody listens to anymore an opportunity to say, "Oh, look, he's being the fascist dictator that we thought he was going to be." I don't care if that's what it is. We elected him to do exactly what he started off doing at least, and that which was getting his initial picks in there, his best picks, which included Matt Gaetz. So I don't, you know what I mean? It's like I saw a post
Yeah.
earlier where somebody was like, "Yeah, he's not doing anything we didn't expect him to do. It's just the left that's freaking out," and that's just the moral of the story, and that's the you know tale as old as time or whatever as it relates to the mainstream media and Donald Trump. They're always just going to oppose him, and they're always going to try to uh, make him be the boogeyman. And of course, now they're looking for any reason to say, "Oh, look, we were right," to lend validity to what they were saying before. Because right now, uh, there's not much. I mean, basically, at this point, they've been crying wolf for so long, and excuse me, they've been crying wolf for so long, and it's ruined their credibility. It's like I heard it said like this before. You pick up their newspaper, you read page one, you realize it's bullcrap, but then they're hoping that you turn to page two to read the news, and um, it's gonna lend some validity to what they were saying in their mind if Trump goes on this, dictator spree, which he promised he'd be a dictator on day one for a day, and that's what I was looking forward to, because we know that he's gonna fight, uh, not fight resistance, but get resistance with everything that he does, regardless of how good the actual pick is. If Trump invented a cure for cancer, they're gonna fight him on it. So it's
Yeah.
just what's to be expected. And so, fine, bring on the fight. We're ready with recess appointments. We got plenty of tools in the bag. We got plenty of weapons to use, and we're going to use them all. And if you want to call him a dictator, the people don't care. We're not, the popular majority voted for him. And it's like, that's why we voted for him. We know how you're going to react. But like you said, I don't like that he's trying to play ball or potentially playing ball, and the Gaetz move looks like it still might have been a 40 chess move. He's going to get somebody done. He's going to get somebody in there. Yeah, it looks like Pam Bondi might be all right. Matt Gaetz, gave her some support and said that she did good as AG. Did I call her district attorney? I've been mixing the two up for some reason, but it said she did good as AG as Florida, for Florida. And so I'm confident, and I still trust in Trump. But some of these picks, I've either never heard of them, or what I do know of them, I didn't really like from before. But like, namely, who's the guy? I was
Thinking of
reading
Scott
through.
Bessent.
Is that the one that the treasurer?
Yeah. The Treasury guy.
Treasury guy. Okay, well, let's start with Pam Bondi here. We'll
Yeah.
just go through what we know of her, and we'll just kind of work our way through the list.
And one thing I wanted to piggyback off of before we go too far was we talking about the
Yeah.
optics thing. And I think this is one thing where I will agree with all of the dissent, or what do you call that, dissident right individuals, the people
Mhm.
who like, I'm not voting for Trump, he's not promising enough. If we can't handle the optics of how a recess appointment may look or how some of these Matt Gaetz may look, I mean, what do you think the chances are of mass deportations? It's beginning to look like a lot more of maybe a hollow promise, an empty promise, and things that we may not get. Um, it just, when it bodes to like the rest of what's going to happen with the administration regarding things like dismantling three other agencies. If we can't handle the optics of a Matt Gaetz because he said, he said women were big and like, why are they complaining about getting pregnant? If like that's the, like, we can't handle that. It's like, people aren't going to be able to handle like, seeing families being propagated by the media being like, oh no, look what they're separating these kids. Like, feel bad, everyone. It's not going to fly. And so I really would like to know who these individuals are that's been in his ear. Maybe it's the Kushners of the world. but they
Yeah.
need sent out of Trump's orbit because we got some work that needs to be done, and nothing's going to get done in this current order of operations.
Right. Well, I don't know if it's actually what Trump said, but I've been hearing rumors that I've heard it repeated multiple times that he's confirmed that he's going to use the military for deportations. And, that I always refer back to, is it Homan that's going to be the border
Yeah,
czar?
Tom Homan.
Yeah, I
Yep.
refer back to his statement when he's like, when we arrest somebody for DUI and their kids in the car, we separate them. Or, you know what I mean? We throw somebody in jail for DUI in America, uh, they're separated from their families. It's not a new thing to separate criminals from their children or whatever. It's like, some special treatment that they're trying to use against Trump. Basically, they want to make Trump look bad. So they're going to try to act like throwing criminals who broke the law coming into the country, crossing the border illegally, use that against him. Like, oh, they're not criminals. I've even heard it said to the point where like, these people are the people that are picking your crops. And it's like, first of all, nobody's out there picking crops. There's $1 million machinery that's picking our crops. Okay. Nobody's out there
Yep.
picking freaking crops anymore. Talk to a
Right.
farmer. They're your waiters. Yeah, they're your waiters, they're your waitresses, they're your and it's all like service, like low skilled service industry, indentured servitude, like level, like comparisons almost, like maybe not indentured servitude, but it just, you know what I mean? They're unskilled, unqualified, or not even unqualified, but just unskilled labor types that like they're assuming that no American wants. So it's got to be the illegals that are doing it. And it's just like, no, there's Americans that are willing to do the job. They were just maybe holding out for a higher wage from the employer. And second of all,
Right.
you guys have been telling us for years that illegals can't work in our country. So now all of a sudden you're claiming that they can. And it's like, which one is it? Because you guys have been saying for years that illegals can't vote in the country either. So which one is it?
Well, everything makes sense to a leftist.
Right.
As long as Rachel Maddow says it.
Right. With their $30 million a year salary, couldn't it?
Yeah.
And I saw also just real quick, Bobcat popped in. Oh, you're going through puberty. Bobcat popped in. Cora's in here now, and Cool Vic. Appreciate you guys for being here. Yeah.
Hopefully you're not going through puberty again.
As my voice cracks, I'm going through it again. It's a second one.
And well, listen, the one thing I wanted to say we're going to get into Pam Bondi here is the 4D chess move thing. That's something where it's like I just don't see it going from a pick from Matt Gaetz to Pam Bondi. Not when we have people like Ken Paxton and Andrew Bailey on the board. Pam Bondi's bad on a large group of things, particularly Second Amendment stuff. There is some very, very unfortunate things going on here.
Yeah.
I think most specifically, you even had people like Clint Russell, Dana Loesch, 9mm SWG with another tweet here as well. And so it just, to me, seems more of maybe like a loyalist pick. People may disagree with me as well. I'm the resident misogynist here. I don't like the idea of the AG who's heading this department being a female when we need a warhound, which was what Matt Gaetz is. So I feel like on a multitude of levels, we're taking a lot of steps back. And once again, people may think I'm being too harsh just because she's female. I just want someone who's going to be extremely disagreeable and has shown that. And that would be Matt Gaetz, right? Like the famous clip of them being like, and what do you have to say for yourself with his comments? He's like, be offended. Like, you don't see that in politics anymore.
Right.
And like, that would have been a perfect person to be the one who points the weaponized justice system back at everyone who has been using it against us for the last 4, 8, 12 years.
Right.
And it's just,
I think a lot of those people shit their pants when they heard that Matt Gaetz was going to be the AG. I think a lot of people went into straight panic mode, and it's just I don't know. Yeah, Cora could be friends close and enemies closer type of thing. I wish I knew more about some of these appointments. It's funny because I was going through YouTube trying to find like a good breakdown of Trump's recent cabinet picks, and there's just like nothing unless you want to watch a CNN or an MSNBC video. And right now, I'm not clicking on anything MSNBC. I want to watch them just fizzle out. You know what I mean? Apparently, they got like 70,000 in the target demographic last weekend, and 70,000 views or whatever. And I might have got more than that on my channel. So, they're on their way out, and I don't want to help them by any means. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Well, I
Cora,
mean,
I still think that Gates would have been better, and I'm ready for like what I was ready for. I was looking forward to like what Atlas said there, that he said be offended. The fact that he was ballsy enough to go out against the popular majority of the Republicans in the House and get out Kevin McCarthy, and and then all of a sudden he just steps aside. And I guess it just is what it is. I mean, there's no going back at this point. And Trump was right there. That was one of the things that I was kind of lending to. If Trump comes out with a pick pretty much immediately, I think it would lend credibility to the fact that it was never really intended for Matt Gaetz to be the AG. It doesn't prove anything, but then it was just the next day that Donald Trump appointed Pam Bondi, and maybe that was really his target pick. But I do agree with the Matt Gaetz statement that we need an AG from Trump needs an AG. We need an AG from day one. We can't waste a minute. And so, shame on these Republicans that are going to hold it up and go against Trump and go against their own party. Democrats never do that shit. You know what I'm saying? They never do that. So
right.
it's part of the weeding out process, I guess, and hopefully these people basically committed career self-offing, in just this action that those four people are going to basically fight it and essentially team up with the Democrats. The Democrats never vote with the Republicans on anything, and there's still these Republicans up there that are willing to work with a Democrat, and they want to act all high and mighty and pretend like they know better. And it's like, we don't care if you think you know better. We want you to do our will. You work for us, and we elected Trump, and we want Trump to be making these decisions. And you don't know better than we do. Even though you think you do, it's not your job. If you were thinking,
exactly,
you wouldn't have thought that.
And one thing I do want to say, because I think House Leotardo is jumping ahead of us here.
Yeah.
Thank you for the information. We have a few picks we're going to talk about, right? It's going to be Pam Bondi, Mike Rogers, who's like not a pick now, Janet Neshawat, Scott Bessett, Dr. Oz, as well as the bait and switch that happened with Thomas Massie. So we will get to Scott Bessett. And there's just a good and I was going to say earlier, the reason why you're not seeing a lot of breakdowns from these people is because every recent pick has like a just bad background. So right-wing media outlets don't want to talk about the history and backgrounds of these people because it's going to make the pick look bad, and left-wing pundits can't give a breakdown of it and be like, these are bad picks because these people are bad for the reasons they would have wanted Kamala Harris to be president. So that's why you're not seeing much being spoken about it outside of the thread accounts that are being tweeted on Twitter.
Yeah. I see JB said the Democrats will work for you if you pay them enough. Well, we need to pay them more, dang it.
Yeah.
It's funny, but that's true. Just Me said she seems like she'll be great, but Matt Gaetz would have been a dream come true. Yeah, I 100% agree with that one. By the way, hi Andrea, good to see you. Let's see. Just wanted you to see that one. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you showing that or telling us that, House Leotardo. Your contributions to the show actually are welcome, and I appreciate them personally. The last couple shows you've been giving us some good information and helping us be a little bit more thorough. So yeah, definitely
smarter than we are.
I don't know if you got a camera and a mic, but maybe we can have you on one of our shows. Join the Discord, and we can definitely talk more if you want to do like a guest appearance or something like that. I mean, we can talk about that for sure, which is something we would like to do more as well with the rest of you too as well.
Let me actually make sure I put the Discord link. I'll put it in the comment section here.
Oh yeah, Yeah, you can do that for sure.
But I do think the tweet you have on screen is hilarious. This is 9mm SMG saying he's about to make some false allegations against Pam Bondi. So someone else has to get there.
Well, that's the thing. If you're accused, if there's allegations, it's as good as being guilty when it comes to this stuff. So it says here in the post, we went from abolish the ATF to Pam Bondi in record time. I'm about to make false accusations against her, so she can't get approved, and maybe he'll appoint someone good next time. And that was in response to a Donald Trump post on Truth Social, where he said, I'm proud to announce former Attorney General of the great state of Florida, Pam Bondi, as our next Attorney General of the United States. Pam was a prosecutor for nearly 20 years, where she was very tough on violent criminals and made the streets safe for Florida families. Then, as Florida's first female Attorney General, she worked to stop the trafficking of deadly drugs and reduce the tragedy of fentanyl overdose deaths, which have destroyed many families across the country. She did such an incredible job that I asked her to serve on our Opioid and Drug Abuse Commission during my first term. We saved many lives. For too long, the partisan Department of Justice has been weaponized against me and other Republicans. Not anymore. Pam will refocus the DOJ to its intended purpose of fighting crime and making America safe again. I have known Pam for many years. She is smart and tough and is an America First fighter who will do a excellent job. It cuts off, but I'm assuming I'm filling in the last part. Excellent job. Probably the best job ever type scenario.
Right.
And then 9mm SMG actually followed up on some of his comments. You could have chose Ken Paxton, who isn't my first choice, but you picked her. Ken is a heterosexual male, so chances are he had sex out of wedlock at one point. The Senate would have approved him, or never approve him. Sorry. Oh goodness.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite follows on X. He might be my favorite follow on X.
Let's see here. He follows up. I have no regrets regarding Trump. Regarding supporting Trump, it was the right decision, 100% against Harris. But the election is over. Now we want results. Pam isn't going to fix a thing outside. Now, not going on witch hunts against Republicans, which someone need with someone with balls, literally and figuratively. I don't know why it went down to that. I'm not trying to show Hunter Biden. The only thing we're getting out of Bondi is no new Trump mugshots. Fauci isn't going to jail. No one is. We were going to have Fauci in prison, but Matt used effing Venmo. So he follows back up with this. Yeah, and that's all we know about Matt Gaetz is that he did use Venmo. And that's not anything damning.
Right. And this is somebody who I think that you're even a big fan of, which is Dana Loesch. I think she's a Florida girl, I believe, right?
You know what? I don't know. I'm not actually a fan of her. I don't know her at all. That's the thing. Some of these new names are just kind of. I know there are people that have been around, but I'm just kind of like, who?
So, Dana Loesch, if you wanted even a loose background of what I know of her, she's like a gun girl. Yeah, she's probably well worth your follow. She runs a show, run a game show. She's a Christian woman, although I do have disagreements with where she stands on that. She was a part of the Calendar Gate scandal. She was one of the girls who was invited to be a part of that, who was on like a calendar cover, although she was one of the better pictures in there.
For the ultra right beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like one of the things that kind of showed the rift between just how far liberal, I guess, the social, what would you call that? The social framing of the Republican Party has moved. You had a large branch of people on the right who disagreed with how the calendar was handled, how the proceeds were, who the target audience was, just moving away from like hardcore Christian values. And then you have a lot of the libertarians who have recently moved into the right wing saying, you know, you guys are being holier than thou. And that started like a bunch of different individual arguments that later were downstream from that. However, Dana Loesch is also someone who's very, very big in the gun community as well, too, especially for a female. And she is very concerned, same thing with Clint Russell, specifically with how poor some of the language has been from Pam Bondi throughout her career regarding the Second Amendment. Now, this clip specifically is her advocating for red flag laws and trying to encourage, I guess, to Trump how they would take guns and what that process would be. But we should go ahead and listen to it. It's about 4.5 minutes long.
Okay. Let me we'll test the audio. If it's quiet, I'll turn it up.
Pam Bondi, Attorney General of Florida, and Mayor, thank you. I know you're going through a lot now. President, she was there that night with me. I think you were there with me until 3:30 in the morning when all these families were being notified, and it was horrific. So I know you've been through a lot, so thank you so much.
Great job.
I have a couple
Oh,
issues.
I have a bit of context to clear things up real quick.
Yeah, sure. This
This
is
was-
Pam Bondi talking.
And this is shortly after the, I believe, the Parkland shooting. So this is about 2018.
Okay.
So this conversation is in context of the aftermath of a school shooting where she kind of takes the side of it's the guns, not the people. And so that's why people kind of have a big issue with here, but it'll play out and you hear a bit more from her.
Okay.
Talk about 'em.
Later.
You can talk.
Well, one, it addresses some of the things you said. In Florida, it's called the Baker Act, but it's our Civil Commitment Act, and it's weak. And it's about 1,000 pages long, and I've had my Solicitor General on it for 3 days now, working on it. We're rewriting it along with Governor Scott, who's,
Good.
you're going to meet with him. He's going to
Good.
give you a ton of good information. We've been rewriting it, and we are going to bring in something called the Gun Violence Restraining Order. So if someone is civilly committed and typically you can hold them for up to 72 hours, but people are getting out within 24 hours, the majority of them. So what we want to do is let law enforcement come in and take the guns.
Good.
They're a danger to themselves
Which you can't
or
do right
others.
now.
Well, because without being adjudicated. So because they're a danger to themselves.
You want them to take the guns and
when they are committed.
not go through 6 months of legal trials and everything else.
Exactly. But we also have to give the mentally ill the due process in which they deserve, President. So what we're doing is they're going to be able to take the guns when they're taken into custody or into the hospital. And then when they're released within 24 hours or 72 hours later, typically it's 24 hours, but law enforcement will have 72 hours to determine whether they should give those guns back or they can go to a judge and say, Your Honor, please keep these guns. We feel this person is still a danger to himself or others, whether
So
they're
this
in or
would
out
not
of
have worked
custody.
the way it's currently constituted. This would not have worked with Cruz as it's currently constituted.
As it's currently written.
So you're going to make changes?
You know, my initial response is I'll take dangerous freedom over that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Same.
I don't. Yeah, TNT, I'm right there with you. Right there with you on that one. I'll take dangerous freedom over, removing somebody's Second Amendment right without adjudication or whatever. I don't like that whole red flag law, and that's one of the knocks on DeSantis. I believe is they're a little bit too. It's a hard line for a lot of people. TNT's post here or comment here on screen is something that a lot of people hold near and dear. And that's one of them things where you're going to end up getting somebody hurt trying to go for their guns. It's happened in the past, and just as
Shall not be infringed.
right,
It's so clear. It's not funny.
right.
And to think, and I even agree with what Jay says later down here. I haven't heard of people getting anything back quickly from the cops, if ever. I think that's more than likely what would happen. These people wouldn't get their guns back, or it would be, through hell
Right.
and high water to just try to fill out form after form, prove. And then that's all they need, right? Once you've signified in some way or some manner that they deem you to not be able to carry weapons, you're forever going to be in this system. And then how long does it take to fight to get out of it? And then what hoops do you have to jump through to even get them? And for the government to say, hey, you're no longer allowed to defend yourself because you were admitted into the hospital for maybe even something as similar as like, yo, you're depressed. It gets to a certain point where it's like the con heavily outweighs the pros.
Right, it's a slippery slope, and every slippery slope in history has gone way too far. And it's like, so does that mean because I have ADD and I used to be on a prescription that now I'm on a, you know, or whatever? It's like now my Second Amendment is at risk. Like, where's the line drawn when it comes to that type of stuff? Or, you know, what my girlfriend left me, and I'm depressed, so now they can just come and take it away, you know, because she called and said he's depressed and he made a veiled threat, you know, or something like that about hurting himself, and then all of a sudden they're in here trying to take my guns or something. Like, yeah, that's not right. And then they talk about the Trump mentioned the 6 months of adjudication or whatever, trying to take the guns away. Well, that's starts working against the American citizens. It's like, well, now it's 6 months of, you know, a year, whatever, of adjudication to get them back. And in the meantime, everybody knows that you're unarmed, which is never a good scenario. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let's make it. I don't, you know, I don't want it ever to be publicly, you know, put out there on blast that a person is unarmed. It makes them a target. There's a lot of bad people.
It's just
But I like what
unfortunate
Angry
'cause
Yeti said. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's the biggest hill to climb. Once they can find like a compromise of like, well, say someone's been into the hospital for this, or like they got charged for this, well, then we can take their weapons, you know,
Right.
outside of the actual kind of felon mandate that exists now. Well, then in a year from now, they go, you know, also we think that these people too probably shouldn't be able to own guns. Like they seem a bit dangerous as well. And maybe and you know, exactly what you're saying, they'd be like, you know, you have to fill out your form to get a gun. It's like, has a girlfriend broken up with you recently? And if you
Right.
sign yes, it's like an automatic no. And it's like the biggest hill to climb is the first one. And
Right.
so if you let the ball roll over that hill, it's just completely downstream and everything becomes easier to kind of just like eliminate your rights, especially when it's done in this fashion.
Right. And I like this comment from Angry Eddie TV. 2A is not a suggestion, it's a mandate. It is a mandate. And I wish the government would actually purchase me a new gun and some ammo. I think I should get like a yearly allowance off my taxes as a write-off from so much ammo that I bought or whatever. You get a couple $100 off your taxes as a write-off, or, you know, write-off. I don't know. You don't even know what a write-off is, but
She get
the
guns on
old
Christmas.
Seinfeld joke. You don't even know what a write-off is. No, but they do, and they're the ones writing it off. Sorry. had to go on. But yeah, I mean, some, you know, some type of tax reduction, you know, because we're supposed to be armed. And then I saw her TNT Cycle said that Kyle Rittenhouse never got his rifle back. I think they offered it back to him, but he was an idiot and he said burn it. He didn't want it back. He had them melt it down. He gave them permission to have them melt it down, which to me, I think he should have sold it. He probably could have got 5-10 grand for that one. I mean, maybe even
Oh, I'd
more.
imagine probably
I don't
more.
know. He probably could have got a lot of money for selling that. And I don't know. I'm not about. I don't care what you did with it. You definitely don't have them melt it down. So I bet he told him to melt it down, and then some cop at the station was like, "Ooh, I'm taking that home." Melted it down, put it in the safe at home.
Yeah, he probably had somebody emotional in his ear. If you remember, he had that little like 24-hour turnaround where he was like, I can't vote for Trump. And then like 24 hours later, he's like, I'm voting for Trump. And so this kid's got too many people in his ear trying to control him, make money off of him. Write this book, Kyle. Write this book over here.
Yeah,
All these kind of things. I just kind of feel bad because the kid's decently young, I believe. He's like, what, 22 years old? Maybe not even that.
yeah.
Probably just getting pushed around by everybody that exists in that swamp in the Matrix.
Everybody's trying to influence him. Like, I remember what 6 months back he came out and said something against 2A. What did he say? He said something against Trump or against MAGA, and like everybody started unfollowing him in mass. And then the next day he had to come back out and retract his statement. I was misinformed or whatever. And
Yeah, exactly.
I can't remember the specifics, but I saw this here. I see this here from House of Utardo. You can piss off your neighbor and they can call on you. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you get into that Me Too realm when it comes to your 2A being taken away all of a sudden. You know, I mean, somebody says you did something or you're depressed or whatever, and then all of a sudden, you're facing a charge, or they're coming to your house to knock on the door and saying, "Hey, give me your weapons," because now your neighbor said you're depressed. Way too slippery of a slope. To your point there, once you roll the ball over the hill, it makes things so much easier. So we got to make the hill taller and taller, put as many boundaries and roadblocks, and never just freely give them access.
No, and it's unfortunate though, because we see here in this video, right? You can clearly see Trump's like cozied up to her as well, and to think this is, 6 years old. She's only become more of a Trump loyalist since then. And if we were doing the tier list, like I think for me, she's like a D or a C. And then if you could look at like who it could have been, and I see that Matt Gaetz could have been in that slot, she's an F. It's like I just like it. Partly emotional too, because it's black pill just from like not getting what we wanted. But it speaks to the 9mm SMG thing. It's like we got him in there. Now you work for us. Like we put you in now, dog. Like why don't you just like help us out and actually give us what we want, and not play this dumb game with the New York Times and that whole matrix.
Right. And you can't play like ignorance or anything. Your presence, like all these people have a presence on social media. And so you can try to claim that X is right wing and Blue Sky is lefty, or whatever the flavor of the month is for the left, where they're leaving X for this new platform that's gonna fall apart. But
Mastodon, Threads, how many have there been now?
Right, exactly. And so it's like it's still a good big enough sample size. I know you're not polling these people, but you still know kind of what at least the vocal majority or vocal minority even want and what they're saying, and that gives all these leaders an indication that, like, look, we're not for red flag laws on this side of the aisle. Remember Hive? LOL. What's Hive? I'm trying to think.
I don't remember Hive at all. It sounds familiar though.
Right.
Makes sense. It fits. They probably left because they're like, people are going to make fun of us for being a hive mind. It's exactly what you are.
I'm just JB said I'm just waiting to hear Dan Bongino as U.S. director, so some deep state assholes can have an aneurysm. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, Hive was another social media. I don't even remember that one, dude. That's what Hive was. That's funny. But yeah, they all go to X and make their announcement that they're leaving, like Don Lemon and all these people. They got to get their last little bit of money from X, and then they'll be back, just like all the advertisers that left.
And what would be cool with Dan Bongino, because he was former Secret Service, so for him to return as like the actual head of it would be awesome.
Right.
Because I think Dan Bongino is one of the top people went to right after the assassination attempt and was like, please tell us how how Secret Service failed here. And he was the one that was like, I can't believe it, guys. Like, there's no explanation for all these things that happened. Like, he couldn't even offer an excuse.
Yeah.
And he was even pointing out things like they should have had somebody here, they should have had somebody there. I think he'd be a great fit to have as the U.S. Secret Service director.
Yeah. I was out the SSS. Man, I thought it was just heavy typing on the S's. Sometimes people.
No, United States Secret
US
Service.
Director.
Yeah.
U.S. Director, U.S. Secret Service. Okay. My bad, JB. SCTT said if Elon buys MSNBC, he should hire Don Lemon for the 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. slot. Nah.
No,
That'd be too much. That'd be too
He needs
much.
to go away.
But I get the sentiment.
Let Don Lemon fade into obscurity.
Right.
That's one of the worst actors in all of media.
He can hang out in the echo chamber over on Blue Sky.
Yeah, then he can announce that he's leaving. He's going to announce that he arrived. It'll be his first post. Hey guys, I've arrived. It's like this guy just wants attention, dude. He could care less about anything else being right. He just wants views. He wants to make money. Just
right.
One of those guys you really can't stand.
He's one of those dudes that you pay him enough, he'll say whatever.
Exactly.
But then Elon could fire him again. That's funny.
He goes in for the handshake. He's like, psych. Like, get out.
You're hired. He shows up on the first day and the doors are locked. Like, I thought I had a parking spot. Where's my parking spot? Doors are locked. Like, nah, you're fired, bro. You're an idiot. You fell for the troll. You really thought I'd hire you? So you said this video was after the Parkland shooting. I'm trying to think, how long ago was that?
2018.
2018. Okay, so 5-ish years ago.
Yeah.
So there's 5 years of her learning and adjusting, learning from her mistakes and adjusting, and maybe she's not as pro
Well,
red
this
flag or
is
not, but
this is a more recent thing. So actually, the next thing I have here to
okay.
actually kind of go against that point is there from the law of self-defense. Many people don't know it, but Pam Bondi is the individual who pursued the trial and made George Zimmerman stand trial in the Trayvon Martin case. So even the law of self-defense points out that the previous in-district prosecutor resigned because he was getting so much political pressure to push this case. Now, before we had Kyle Rittenhouse, actually, what the line that was said, because you'll hear with Kyle Rittenhouse, it was the clearest case of self-defense someone's ever seen. Well, before Kyle Rittenhouse existed, a lot of people argued that George Zimmerman was the clearest case of self-defense they'd ever seen. But it was so racialized and so overly abused by the media. It was one of those first kind of generational clickbait things that kind of drove everybody into a frenzy. It enfranchised people into politics who normally aren't into politics. But you can even read right there, Pam Bondi was the one who went out and ensured that Angela Corey would go after George Zimmerman. So she has a bad history with things specific in regards to things like stand your ground laws, self-defense, 2A. And so I think with a history that expands from not even just then, but all the way up until 2018, you would have to be at least hopeful that she had changed. But if I was going off of what she's done in her history and her timeline, it all speaks to the opposite of that.
So that's definitely 2 strikes. TNT said, I'm torn. A lot of people were lied to for so long. It's hard to know who has seen the light or who is a snake in the grass. Right. One thing to give Trump a little bit of credit is he claims, he's saying that he's worked with her for a while. And that's something that a lot of people have a hard time doing, is sticking with him just because of the way the deep state treats anybody around him. So that might be a leg up. This also might be one of those type of, I called it last week, like a virtue signal DEI type of appointment in as it related to, I can't see that we're covering it up as what's her name there that we gave a D to with the silver hair?
Susie Wiles.
Susan Wiles, right? She ran his campaign, and it was kind of like, why would he appoint her to that position? What was the position? Do you know off the top of your head?
She is, chief of White House staff. So she'll be the one who has like the main access to Trump. She'll be like the scheduler. And then the deputy chief. I think that's what it's called.
And I said, so maybe
guy in B tier.
So maybe this is Trump trying to not appear as so misogynist, right? By appointing a woman whenever he can, if it's remotely close. I don't know. It's just an assumption on my part, but like I said earlier, it all boils back to I don't care about the optics. I just want Trump to get shit done.
Right. Especially after we see like the way that the media reported about the Laken Riley trial, right? MSNBC runs a headline of, the killer never stood a chance. It's like,
yeah,
they won't stop. Like they seriously will refuse to stop pushing this kind of propagated garbage and carrying the torch for the woke left. It's like, who on planet Earth, if they've seen the details of this case, could even carry water in a halfway meaningful way for what that guy did to Laken Riley? And then you look at the circumstances that allowed him to be in the country in the first place. Is like, okay, we should probably stop this. And anyone who kind of looks at that and thinks otherwise is like, I even go to the position of like, if you think that, like, I now go to the position of like, I don't even think you deserve to have rights. Like, there's no way you can be that despicable of a human being, and you should be allowed to like even have a First Amendment right. This is kind of ridiculous, and I'm kind of halfway joking with that too, but it points to, I think, that there is just a very malignant evil force that exists, and whether you're religious or not, I think that it's becoming more unmasked the closer we get to actually getting stuff done. And I just really don't want a lot of this stuff to hold Trump back.
Yeah. Hopefully I say hopefully. Well, I don't want to say it like that, but maybe he'll get Jeffrey Dahmer in prison.
Huge chance.
You know what I mean? So that's just say it like that. We're not calling for harm to other people. I'm speculating that that might happen is all.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think that he should have, been facing the most extreme penalty that our courts can dish out. But I wanted to comment on this one from TNT Cycles. Elon, this is referring to Elon if he bought MSNBC. He can make a streaming channel highlighting Alex Tucker, Tim Pool, Benny. If he did that, he would have to give Salty Cracker the late night comedy show, because I don't know if you guys are familiar with Salty, but he's pretty he's pretty crass, but he's pretty funny. I don't know if it's crass is the right word, but the dude cracks me up. So sometimes he says things the way that I feel like wish I could say them on my own channel, but just
Yeah.
not
So he's
quite
like on Rumble and not on
up
YouTube
that
anymore.
right. I think he still is on YouTube, but I know he's been demonetized for a long time. TNT says, yes, Salty is my spirit animal. Right. And that's why I think a lot of people are like that, to be honest. And then Cora also said evil doesn't hide anymore. Yeah, that is very true.
Right.
They have no shame putting it in our face. Yeah, Earl's daughter. Salt Army unites. That's pretty funny. Did you, I assume, since you say the Salt Army, yeah, there we go. Did y'all see how I got turned off to Benny a little bit because he totally like hijacked the Salt Army stuff from Salty Cracker, and it was kind of like, man, you didn't have to do that one, But
yeah, Benny Johnson's kind of got he's got a streak here recently that makes me feel he's a little bit artificial.
I started
It's a
watching him
bit
less
too
and
produced.
less. Yeah, I started
Yeah.
watching him less and less. I think he's still good for the party, but at the same time, he's I believe he's out of, and I think this is pretty much well known. He's out of like Western Florida. And when I was in that town, I came up against a situation where I thought that it was something that Benny would have been all over. And I mentioned it on the channel before, but it was dudes sitting outside of the baseball stadium, and right at the crosswalk to go from the parking lot to the stadium, dude was out here saying, sign this petition for women's health rights. And basically they're disguising it. The dude was, in my mind, doing work of evil, and they're disguising, women's health rights as, sign this abortion, say that you want abortions. And then they take all those signatures and they try to pass the legislature. And we just had in Florida, abortion on the ballot. It was called Amendment 4, which I believe it lost because it needed to get 60%, and it got over 50, I believe, but it didn't get the 60. I could be wrong. So
Well, yeah, it's unfortunate. You even have a lot of people in the Republican Party that see it as a dead issue, you know, and they want to leave it up to the states. But even if left up to the states, where it looks like we're going to have a few more, we're going to have a bunch of states that are completely banned outright with some exceptions. Some states are going to have no exceptions, the ones that are really, 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 really red. And then we're going to have places like Colorado, California. But unfortunately, even some of these Midwest states will probably move to positions. I believe Ohio will probably be one of those ones that'll keep abortion in place as it was even before Roe v. Wade. It's just, it's unfortunate.
right. But I feel like half those petitions or a significant amount of those petition signers were tricked into signing something that they, they're heading into a baseball game or even out of the game. And if they had a couple pops, a couple drinks, they might not be in their right frame of mind, and they're just like, oh yeah, I'll sign that, and then not even knowing really what they're signing, definitely not reading through it, and it's just a shame they take advantage of people like that. And I figured that's something that Benny would have been all over, had it being in his side of the state.
No, exactly.
And then I appreciate that, House Leotardo. As long as we're all part of the future, as long as we all stand our ground, like I've been, definitely. Like I've been advocating lately. So I'll say it again on the show. We got Thanksgiving coming up, and there was that lady, a psychologist, that went on The View, or maybe it was just an interview with Joy Reid, I think, actually. I don't know. They're all a bunch of laughing hyenas over there. But
Clucking
What-
hens.
no, don't insult my chickens. My chickens are nice and sweet and cute.
No, we like the roosters, just not the females. It's a joke. Just joking.
They're oh, I know. I'm playing. I'm playing too, but I've been making the joke. They're laughing hyenas over there. They're not clucking chickens because it's an insult to the chickens. But
The hyena is a
uh,
good reference, the way they act.
right, and so I just I've been advocating. It's funny because it's to this lady's point, but it's the opposite. She was saying that if you're going to go to Thanksgiving, or you don't have to go to Thanksgiving with your family if you're going to be surrounded by MAGA people, or if there's going to be MAGA people there, it's to the effect of that. And I'm like, you know what? Wear your MAGA gear. Get yourself some America First gear from the shop, which, to be honest, it won't be at your house in time if you got something. It takes spring about a month to get things made and sent out. But get your American flag shirt. Wear your Trump gear. If you got a MAGA hat, wear it to Thanksgiving and have the conversations, because it's funny because a lot of people say you shouldn't have these conversations with family and friends, but if you can't have a conversation that's serious with your family and friends, then who can you talk to? Who can you talk to, right? Strangers?
Right.
I mean, so you got to be able to, honestly, you got to be able to do both, in my opinion, but it should be easier to talk about it with your family and friends, because those people, they know you. They've known you your whole life. They know you. So when they try to project something onto you that they know better that you're not, it's an opportunity where we can correct their lies, the things that they've been misled to believe, with truth. And you can say, look at me. I mean, what part of me that have you ever in your whole existence of knowing me, have you thought like that until Trump was on the scene? And you can have these conversations. You can correct their lies with the truth. And if they're still triggered, then you get more mashed potatoes and gravy. You get more turkey. And so let them leave and be bold, because we need to have these type of conversations and really just root out the evil as much as possible. You got to pray for strength and knowledge and wealth before you go into it. Do that. But I don't know. It's one of those things where I really am totally against what that lady said, where she was like, just separate yourself from your families if they're going to be talking about Trump or whatever at Thanksgiving. And it's like, these people are just so anti-family. They're so anti-human. It's like, have they ever been loved? I
No.
don't know. I have to challenge that if they say yes, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be maybe being a jerk or whatever, because they say it breaks a lot of friendships and families, and frankly, by now, Trump's been on the scene for 8 years. People know if you're pro-Trump or not, even if you never wore a MAGA hat around them. And they're definitely going to bring it up. That's the other thing about these people, is the first chance that they get in conversation, they're going to blame Trump for doing something. You're going to face the decision to, do I bite my tongue or do I say something? And a lot of times when you say something, you start owning them. You start beating them in the debate, right? And then they go, I don't want to talk politics. I don't want to talk politics. And it's like, okay, that's fine. You brought it up. I was just not going to let your lie, that bull crap that you just said, float. I wasn't going to let it just be. So I had to correct it. And then it won't be 5 or 10 minutes later, they'll do it again. Then they'll do it again. And so it just is what it is. That's been my experience in multiple different situations.
Yep.
Let's see here. JB said my aunt voted for Kamala because she said she didn't like Trump, but she did like his policies. Oh, goodness. Earl's daughter has said, heck, I married into a family that that a fight breaks out every holiday, so I might as well start something.
Yeah. True.
It's just I feel like it's in our nature to just take the high road. If you're a Christian, you tend to forgive people, and just bite your tongue. And the slippery slope has gone too far, and so we just can't do that anymore. We got to toe the line. We can't just draw the line. You got to toe the line and not let the bull crap go.
Factual.
Show me on an election map where Trump hurt you. That's funny. You walk upright. I assume you voted Trump. I mean, they made it so bad that if you fly an American flag in front of your house, they know that you voted Trump. And it's like, it's really it's just that blatant. You're just anti-America if you you can't fly a flag in front of your house. Otherwise, you're it's just
You're an
crazy.
extremist.
Yeah,
Who flies the American
It-
flag anymore? What are you, white supremacists?
right, exactly. The Nazi down the street flying his American flag. It's like, whoa.
Oh, it looks
What's
like
up,
Chris
Chris?
was late joining. Looks like we got to ban him. He got banned.
Chris, what are you doing? Working on a Saturday? As we work on a Saturday. I'm just kidding. It's glad to have you here, man. Smile and nod, keep your powder dry. I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of just running them out. I mean, there's only so much turkey, and if there's pecan pie, you got to get them out of there before dessert starts because more pecan pie. What's funny is I hated pecan pie my whole life, and then I tried it like last year. I'm like, I've been missing this whole time. Idiot.
Oh man, dude, pecan pie might be one of the best things ever.
Yeah, and I've always liked pecans. I just never thought like, ew, a nut pie. What?
When you say it like that, I don't think I want it.
Never mind. I don't like it anymore. Earl's daughter says, I love the Lord, and that is exactly why I won't be silent. Be bold in love. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a fight.
Amen.
Chris said, Did you see Erie's BS? No.
I did not.
Is it cream filled?
Unfortunately.
Whipped.
Oh, I literally type it in. It says Erie just flipped.
Oh, Erie, like Indiana, or is it I don't know, Erie, Pennsylvania?
Trying to find some more here.
Chris said, I love pecan pie and my homemade pumpkin pies. Now that's somewhere I won't go. I maybe I should try pumpkin pie. I've hated it my whole life. Maybe I should actually try it again. But as of now, I believe you've gone one step too far there, Chris. Pumpkin pie now, thank you.
Something about that the Erie City Council President Jasmine Flores made a comment that 90% of MAGA is KKK.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's common knowledge.
Yeah. Well, my robes are over here.
Well, I mean, this is the robe nowadays, right? It's like I said, that you wear an American flag, you fly an American flag.
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive. Oh, and it reminded me too, as I looked that up, the majority of these picks that we've seen that are getting appointed to the cabinet, Lindsey Graham is praising them. He's like going to X and he's being like, Trump, wow, what a phenomenal pick, guys. And
Yeah.
everyone's just saying like, well, I don't like the pick automatically. Like I don't need
The
to know
war hawk.
anything else.
I'm
Yeah, if Lindsey
right there
Graham
with
likes
him. Yeah, I'm right there with him. If Lindsey Graham likes it, I gotta question it.
Yeah, well, I know we did want to say too with Pam Bondi, it's a slap in the face when someone goes, "This is because Trump was like, this America first. This is such an America first person," and literally the first thing that I see when I type in Pam Bondi is her being like, "Israel's the greatest ally any country's ever had on the planet," and I was just like, "Oh no, oh no."
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Well, funding ain't stopping there anytime soon. She ain't gonna look into any kind of ordeal with that.
Yeah. So I have to give her a D minus. She's not on the or maybe D plus. If she does a couple
Yeah.
good things, if she starts really getting to work,
That's where I put her. D.
then she can improve. Sorry. Thought I heard it. I heard a ruckus. But I think my wife's taking care of it. I don't know. I think the dogs were chasing a chicken or something.
No, let's
Slime
see
balls
here.
being afraid of being left behind. Sorry. What else do we have next here? Let's Luke Rakowski. Let's show this one. I think this is the last one on Pam Bondi. Oh yeah, that was kind of
Yeah,
what
so
you were just
Lindsey
talking
Graham.
about. Lindsey Graham
Yeah.
is happy about this, so I am not. Pam Bondi, Trump's new pick for Attorney General, was a registered foreign lobbyist on behalf of Qatar. She received $115,000 a month for undoubtedly exceptional lobbying services. I hate that.
Right.
Yeah, she might got moved down to a D minus.
Yeah. Former lobbyist. She was actually on the same lobbying group that was involved with the Susie Wiles. So she's also got, again, questionable past all over.
Mhm.
But, 3 strikes and you're out, really, with Pam
Yeah,
Bondi.
I see this top comment right here. It's not the top one, but it's the one at the top, and it says, "Dude, why does he suck at hiring good people?"
Yeah.
You know what? Trump's been fairly successful, just in life. But when it comes
Well, this is
to
why I keep making those statements. Like
his,
I would
his
see so much better if he went to a
concerning,
rally, a mega rally. He closed his eyes and he pointed at somebody random in the crowd and was like, "That's your new AG, this guy." And it's like, I'll take that. Like I
right?
would take that over anyone
For
he's
real.
so far.
If he pointed at me, I'd drop everything, and you know what I mean. I'd never sleep. Try to work on this type of stuff, figuring out everything. So maybe I'm throwing my name in the hat. It's official.
Yeah.
I'll be
Hope
there.
Trump hears that.
Brick suit for borders are. Yeah, $115K a month. Holy crap! Exactly. It violates the leftist rights. Okay with it. If she violates the leftist rights, only I'm okay with her.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I like Luke. But I think I'm subscribed to Luke. I never see his stuff come across the line. But let's move on
Yeah.
to Mike Rogers. I'm pretty sure. So we pretty much got her settled into the D category and maybe even on the F category now, because like you said, 3 strikes and you're out. Angry Eddie TV said, "Pick me. I'll make assumptions of guilt great again." I like that. JB said, "I think there's more to his picks than we see. I think there are some very powerful people at play. They would still have to be approved, and the deep state controls those votes." Yeah,
Not if he did recess appointments. Like they
oh, he
came out
said
and said they
innocence
would.
of guilt. My bad, Angry Eddie. I just saw your correction. Make innocence of guilt great again. Autofill. Freaking autofill. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna move on here to Mike Rogers. I
Which will
see
be pretty
Chris.
quick.
Chris has already given him the universal sign of approval. 2 of them.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel.
Clint Russell, it's Friday. You know what that means. Time to apply maximal pressure to make sure Kash Patel is nominated to head the FBI. Mike Rogers shouldn't be in the consideration. Kash only. Yeah, for sure. Since Gates couldn't get approved, we must get Kash in there. It's vital. And I agree. I was really happy when it was floated that he was going to run the CIA, and then they picked the other dude. And then they're floating it that he's going to be running the FBI instead. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm cool with that. That makes sense. And I'm totally with that. But it's being delayed, or like all these picks are coming out and it hasn't been cashed yet. So might end up seeing a check or credit. Dave Smith commented, "Dear President Trump, if the guy who framed you for treason is backing Mike Rogers, maybe pick someone else." And this is his response to a post from Jack Posobiec, who said, "Andy McCabe is backing Mike Rogers for FBI, and that's all you need to know." He posted a screenshot of CNN Politics. Former Trump FBI deputy director and CNN senior law enforcement analyst Andrew McCabe said Thursday that Rogers would be a totally reasonable, logical selection to nominate to lead the agency, pointing to his knowledge of the intelligence community and his experience at the FBI. That's the highlighted part. But McCabe cautioned against empowering Patel, saying on CNN's The Source that no part of the FBI mission is safe with Kash Patel in any position of leadership in the FBI, and certainly not in the deputy director's job.
So that sounds
Well,
like Kash Patel. That's like an endorsement.
I know.
Great.
I know,
Great. You
right?
Get him in there.
Like, thanks for letting me know, because I'm all for cash still. And it's funny. It is like, we see these responses, and I'm not accusing this of being the case, but sometimes you wonder if a person throws out like a lie, right? He doesn't really endorse a person, but they say that they do, or they really don't, uh, or they really do endorse a person, but then they say the opposite, trying to get the response that it's like, we see out of like Lindsey Graham. I could see Lindsey Graham realizing that anybody he endorses, people are going to be like, oh, well, that's enough for me not to like him. So then he goes and endorses people that he doesn't even necessarily like, or that he doesn't like, so that response hits the waves. And it's like, he really doesn't actually endorse the guy, but he says that he does. And then you get the response that's like, well, I can't be with it if Lindsey Graham is. So I don't know. It's kind of, you got to take everything with a grain of salt, like everything, right? But I don't think that's the case here with Mike Rogers. I do believe that Mike Rogers is a bad candidate when it comes to it should be Kash Patel, is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, and don't be blackpilled on this either, because the update that we have with Mike Rogers is that he was not even in the consideration, which is what Dan Scavino Jr. said here, because he said he just spoke to Trump regarding Mike Rogers going to the FBI, and the quote is, "It's not happening. I have never even given it a thought." So
In his own words, I've never even given it a thought. Okay, not happening. So that's good. I don't know where it came out of. And that reminds me, I guess Elon Musk got pissed off at Mar-a-Lago at some people, accusing them of being not traitors, but like moles. I guess he went off on some people recently, accusing them of being moles, because like stuff that's being talked in the inner circles is hitting the news wires.
yeah, there's
And so
somebody in there that's been leaking stuff this entire time.
right.
The Marco Rubio thing came out way before there was a statement even announced. So as much as these moles might be wrong too,
Thanks, guys.
there's somebody who's getting some kind of like leaker information.
Yeah. McCabe is a tar monster. Moles, didn't they have strangely colored hair? Sometimes they only have like one or two hairs sticking out of them.
Yeah, so Mike Rogers gets an F.
Yeah, he's an F, and he's like an NA.
Yeah, not even on the list.
Right.
See, this next one though, if we move on to Jeanette, it's basically let the reader understand, because a lot of what is involved with her, we're gonna get on YouTube's bad side. I guess what's the best way we can word this, World?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I was reading a comment, and I was like half paying attention, so I missed a little bit of what you said right there.
No, you're good. So this is who Jeanette, I don't even know how you say her last name, to be honest with you, Neshawat. I even wrote in here on the outline, so this is definitely the most visible across the aisle. Bad pick. Even libertarians who don't like Trump or like this is aggressive. This is a woman who, let's just say, this is probably the best way to say it. She is the female Fauci.
Oh,
so
okay.
this is who is being selected for the U.S. Surgeon General position.
Okay.
There's nothing redeeming about this woman whatsoever.
Right.
The longer I looked, the more I disliked.
And we have to be careful what we say about her positions on certain things, because YouTube is on the hunt for certain phrases, right? And Chris is feeling it right now, unfortunately. Sorry to bring up old shit there, Chris, but so yeah, we do got to be careful as far as hearing what we talk about on that. But if she's the new age Fauci, I think that pretty much speaks for itself, right? I do want to read
Yeah.
this comment real quick just because I think it's an excellent, worth noting. Earl's daughter said these drops for potential nominees are a strategy. Trump is a populist, thus listens to the people. So voice your opinion on these nominees on X. Yes, that's a very well said. I appreciate that. And then TNT Cycles followed up and said, I wonder how often Mar-a-Lago is swept for listening devices. You would think pretty often, but you never know. I mean, they might just kind of think it's on lockdown since he's kind of had Secret Service guarding him and whatnot for so long. But I don't know.
Definitely.
I wouldn't put it past anybody. I would be if I was Trump, I'd have it on like, Monday or not Monday morning, like every morning detail, like, comb the place for bugs, however they do it. I think they use devices that can pick it up and stuff like that. But yeah, that's definitely a good point.
Probably the best way to even let the audience understand who this woman is just play through these videos and not even provide comments.
Okay.
We got like 3 or 4 videos in a row. I think actually that fourth one's the same one. So the first 3 of these videos, and just like hear it for yourself. This is what this person was pushing.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and play this then.
Now have clear-cut, compelling data. A trial of 10,000 participants, this was just posted on the CDC website, that showed those who had a third dose, a booster shot, had significantly more improvement, more protection, more antibodies than those who did not have that third dose. So we definitely know, especially going into the winter holidays, having that extra protection can help minimize infection, can help minimize spread. So if you are especially over the age of 50,
So as far as extra protection, she's talking about wearing 2 condoms, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I mean that pretty much says it all right there. I mean, I think everybody here in chat will agree that yeah, you're fired. Yep. Yeah, effing fired.
Yeah.
So and this woman isn't being floated. She is the actual pick. Pushing
Correct.
masks. Never fell for the this is Anomaly. I like him. I haven't heard much from him lately. I think YouTube quit suggesting him to me. I never fell for the obvious ridiculousness of forced masking and mask hysteria. People still wear masks today. That just blows my mind. I mean, it's one of those things where if you're sick and you got to go out in public, maybe that's something that you should do to prevent other people from just catching your cold or something like that. But
Right.
Yeah,
This video is not nearly as damning as that third one. The third one is the one that was really like, nope.
okay, let's play it then.
I'm avoiding even providing any kind of commentary, to be honest with you.
Right, we're just playing what the person said. We're not even,
Yeah.
like I said, she was talking about having 2 for safety. She was talking about wearing condoms.
Yeah, because we love censorship. I love censorship. The world loves censorship. The audience loves censorship. And so we're going to take a listen to this woman who loves censorship as well.
Chris said 2 fingers and I'll drop my pants and give her a 3rd finger. I heard a laugh from the other room on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so Trump's pick for Surgeon General, Janet Neshwit, praised Facebook for censoring anti-information and accounts like mine and RFK's, specifically adding that she will hope and pray other social media companies do the same. So, just for risk of being cautious, I think we all get the point, right? Is this video okay to play or what? Because I just don't trust. I want to be able to stream for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I watched it this morning and I thought it would be okay.
Okay.
I think specifically she's just talking about how we should be combating misinformation. And you, like me, think that we should do that at every single turn. And censorship is a good thing.
Yeah, of course. TNT said, I still see people with multiple masks on. I force myself to cough as often and as loud as I can. That's hilarious. Chris said, "Censor me more, Daddy." Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll play it. It should be all right. This is Fox Business, and they're just having the discussion, and we are reserving our rights to not have an opinion.
Yeah, and we're not making any statement of fact. We're not making any statement of fact. This is just this individual in her own words, and we're just reporting to you that this is what this individual said in her own words.
And it's relevant because she is now appointed to Trump's cabinet.
Save lives. And I am so excited, and I thank and I commend Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg for taking action, because this affects everyone. This affects our children. It affects adults. I mean, just look at the recent measles outbreak, the biggest outbreak that we've had in decades with measles. And that's no joke. Measles can cause brain inflammation and pneumonia and ear infections and hearing loss and death. So it's about time that they are taking action. And I hope and pray that other social media platforms will follow suit and do the same thing. First of all, vaccines.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, interesting story. I had a great grandma that lived till I was like 35 years old. And I believe it was measles. She caught measles when she was like 6 years old. I think it was measles. And she walked her whole life, her feet like pointed outwards. And she was the sweetest, kindest, longest living great grandma that I've ever had. Not that I ever had, but you know what I'm saying? Like it was pretty wild because it killed most of the people in her generation when they caught it that young. I think it was measles. Yeah, I think so. She was cool. It just made me think of her. Sorry. Coming up on Thanksgiving, we used to go out to her house every year, and me and my cousins would sneak into the attic and see what our presents were going to be and stuff. But she lived on a farm, and she was cool. She was cool. Polio. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was polio. Thank you, Chris. So it wasn't measles. My bad. But it made me think of her.
Yeah.
But I mean, referring back to this video, tell me you're a Democrat without saying I'm a Democrat, right?
Yeah, I mean, what else do you need to hear? You know, at least Pam Bondi's defensible in some degree.
Right.
This is indefensible. This is more of the same. This is, in fact, actually not even more of the same. This is just a female version of what we had previously. I really don't see much changing there. I think that's, once again, I think if one thing can be taken away, I think that there is something specific about Trump's handling of the situation while he was president that he will never apologize for. And I think if you wanted a hard fact of that to be true moving forward, this appointment is exactly that. And I don't think that we're going to get much there. In fact, you know, the only hope we might even have in regards to this appointment indicates Trump's level of value on this issue, maybe RFK opposing him on some level moving forward with what he has with HHS, but we'll see.
Right. You know, and that's one of those opportunities for Trump to prove the mainstream media wrong, where, you know, they say that he's always got to be right and, you know, all this stuff. But will he listen to RFK when RFK comes in and says, hey, I know better than you on this, and we need to go this direction, you know, because that's pretty much his expertise. From what I understand, that's, you know, what RFK is focused the majority of his career on, is kind of being knowledgeable in this department. There is that not. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's the only hope moving forward. You know, I think as someone, especially as being younger, not being younger, but me having a daughter, just think about 8 days ago. A lot of thought goes into how early she should be getting these. I don't even want to say the word, man. I don't want to throw out anything. But getting these injections of sorts. Looking up on all the information, seeing what Peter McCullough has said with a lot of different research papers, and you kind of look into it a bit further, you see how there's all these new liability laws put in place for these specific health measures. you kind of view these people as absolute monsters. So I actually am hardcore rooting for RFK to begin some level of investigation. If that bothers Trump, so be it. I'll take RFK's side on this matter any day of the week. It's
Mhm.
something that I think needs heavily changed, and not even just changed, but illuminated. I think this is something that's been so brutally obfuscated to the general public that I think it would be something that would needs to be illuminated in such a way that the average person goes, no, look, like, see, like, do you not see this? Instead of only being able to have the mainstream sources to go to that says the exact opposite.
Well said. Yeah. Um, so yeah, hopefully Trump does seize the opportunity to listen to the people that he's appointing to the cabinet as experts, right? Prove the mainstream media wrong once again. One every 6 weeks would be better. Cora said.
Yeah, the combination ones, because they try to do a bunch at once.
Yeah.
That's what even I was thinking as well, is to doing like, spaced out. Because again, there are no safety protocols when it comes to taking them in combo.
It's just
Right,
a
and
cookie cutter approach kind of for everybody,
right.
for all the young ones. See, JB said many of these jabs are required for your kids to attend a public school, and that's why I say homeschool your kids, man. If you can afford it, it's children are the most important thing, and if you can, not you particular, but if an individual, if a family can work it out, I think I keep trying to um, tell my daughter, who's not pregnant or anything, but I keep trying to convince her to move down to Florida, because I'll homeschool her kids for her when she has them. It's like,
Yeah,
find a
right.
grandparent or something like that maybe has the time and can do that type of stuff. But yeah, you guys are already commenting just because I got a comment here from Nick on the screen. I think that's funny. 100%. Glad my grandkids are homeschooled. Yeah, Thomas thinks. Yeah. I remember when I was in high school, it's probably aging myself, but I was like the last kid to be vaccinated when they changed this law that we all had to have like an MMR vaccine. Me and my best friend, we were seriously the last two kids. They were like, we're 2 weeks past the deadline, and they're like ready to tell us you can't come to school tomorrow. And so finally, my dad took me in, and we got it done or whatever. But I thought that was really funny. That was before I even knew anything. I just wasn't comfortable with it. I'm like, man, I'm however old, 16, 15, 16. I've gotten this far without it. Why do I need it now?
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Chris said, I'll help if a tutor is needed. That's what I'm saying. There's people around you in your sphere, and that's why, they want to isolate us. And they, it's a phrase that's been around forever, but it takes a village to raise a kid. And, that's part of the reason why, and yeah, start learning pods with your neighbors, House Leotardo said.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, you
And if
can
you
play the
can't, right,
religion
if I
card.
move to an area. I was gonna say I saw that comment from Andrea. I actually have a close friend who I won't name now, actually, who was in the healthcare field, and they did not accept his religious exemption. And what makes the story even more kind of insane is that the head who he was reporting to was his uncle. So even inside of a familiar relationship and writing out a religious exemption with a very articulate article of why not, it was denied, and thus he lost his job.
Dang.
I even had somebody on my actual show, River, who is former was in the military, is now a cop. I won't say where. I don't want to dox him. But you can see those episodes on my actual show on Offensively Accurate, where I interviewed him, and we talked. I believe it was on the second episode. I could be wrong. Specifically about that he was discharged from the military because he was also not willing to take the jab. And
Yeah.
I'm unsure if he actually filed for a religious exemption. I think he just knew it wasn't going to be accepted. So he was just like, whatever you got to do, just get me out of here. I'm not doing it. But now he's working his way to be a police officer. I believe he's finished. He's past training now. I've actually spoken to him quite a bit. But really good guy. I'm just glad that we have people who are still willing to stand on their principles.
Yeah. Somebody said, "Do you glow at night?" That's funny. Let's see here. Okay, so I did read a story. Well, I'm not even gonna say it, just because it's jab related, but there's basic. Well, I'll say something you can look up yourself. It's a statistic, but I don't know if it's in Portland, is a county that Portland is in or near that, but they are. Well, I think, yeah, I'll just keep it at that. You guys can Google it or whatever to figure it out. I think I gave enough
Warning.
information.
Warning, incorrect opinion incoming. Warning.
JB, that's funny. Let's see. Oh, it's in Seattle. Okay. It's in Seattle, not Portland. So anyways, you guys can look that one up, but related to what we're talking about. So moving forward, Scott Bassett. He is and that's why we got this post up here from Nick. Donald Trump has just appointed Scott Bassett for Treasury Secretary. Bassett or Bassett? I don't know.
Bassett, I think.
Bassett. Okay. There's an N in there. It's not silent. Is a homosexual hedge funder manager who worked for George Soros for 10 years and received a $2 billion investment from him for his firm in 2015. The swamp remains undefeated. And so, yeah, this dude, he's an instant F. If he's Soros affiliated, instant F, right?
Yeah, this is more context with this one.
And then this was more context. You said, who's the quote from?
This is he think I pulled it from Bloomberg.
Okay, so it's quote Scott Bassett, a veteran at Soros Fund Management who ran George Soros's European investments for 8 years, is now returning to the firm as chief investment officer, Bloomberg reported. But hey, drain the swamp, right? And so this is a liberal, obviously trying to dunk on the effing MAGA idiots.
No, he's he's even better.
I don't like this dad from Florida guy.
You see that logo in there? He's a DeSantis guy. That's what the flag and the gator is.
Oh, really?
So this guy is like a super DeSantis reporter.
Interesting.
Yeah, because that fighting is still going on to this day.
Wow. Take over. Meet the hedge fund superstar George Soros just hired to take over his $25 billion fund. Oh, wait, wrong button. Let's click the other one here. Scott Bassett, a veteran at Soros Fund Management who ran Soros' European investments for 8 years, now returning to the firm. Bassett, 49, who some consider Soros' protege, will now oversee the $25 billion that belongs to Soros, his family foundation, and Soros after. Is Trump doing this because he's trying to? Is he throwing Soros a bone? Like, don't mess
even
with
after this.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, dude. Like, I'm not suggesting that this is the case, but I'm just thinking out loud. Could this be Trump throwing him a bone essentially, and like, look, George, we're not enemies. I'll put your guy up here and let him run some money stuff. And maybe you won't bust a bunch of protesters to my inauguration day or something like that. I don't know. It's just complete speculation, but
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. in terms of just like this affiliation, it's like maybe that's who a top dog Treasury Secretary would aspire to be, regardless of what the George Soros implications are. Um, I find that hard to believe. But on like the social implications, you have this is he's a gay married man who actually went through the same process that Dave Rubin did and has 2 children. So as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned, he's put 2 children in a less than subpar standard for familial standards. It once again speaks to a good bit of the Christless conservatism stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I love kind of Scott Pressler's mission and his groundwork that he did. But there's been, I think it's his husband. I don't know if it's his husband or his boyfriend has been continually trying to bait with Christians who are in the MAGA circle to be like, what do you see wrong with this photo of us? I think he goes by the gay Republican. And it's like, what people are going to say. But then he claimed that he was being attacked. And so it's a lot of that similar kind of stuff. I just like, that you're in the party of Christians, right? Like this is the mainstay party for Christians. So don't act surprised when you keep flaunting your homosexuality, you get the responses that you do. And that's why I even quoted his post and I put the famous tweet from Tyler the Creator, where he was like, how are you even getting cyberbullied? Like, bro, just log off, close your eyes. Just like that's the way I felt. It's just like it's to me, it's kind of pathetic. It's really low hanging fruit.
Right. So what if this is a different type of maneuver where it's not throwing him a bone, but it's trying to bust the dude, like knowing that we give this dude this power, he's going to eventually filter some money somewhere and then gotcha, right? We're going to be monitoring heavily what you're doing and stuff like that. And as soon as something goes back to like a Soros fund or something, it gives them like an opportunity to slap the cuffs on some of these people. I don't know. Maybe I'm way off base.
Listen, if Matt Gaetz was AG, he wouldn't have to play all these kind of 4D chess games.
Bro.
I'm telling you, he could just have
Bro.
done recess appointments.
For real. Yeah, for sure. Just interesting.
You got to see
Maybe
you
one
got to see
encompass-
the light, I guess.
Yeah.
And not be completely black-pilled.
Yeah, I'm just running through like potential scenarios. Like what else could it really be? If anything, I feel like it can't just be direct with anything anymore. It's all smoke and mirrors. Chris says, as a Christian, I have to tell you what my God says. If I don't tell you, then I don't love you. Yeah. House Leotardo said Nick was right. Now the only question is what to do going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot what the commenter said earlier. Like, just got to keep voicing dissent and be like, listen, dude, we don't appreciate this. At least, like, throw us a bone to understand, like, what's going on.
Yeah.
Because do you really want to blackpill everybody for a month or two before we get to the actual inauguration and start losing a lot of momentum that what we had? I think it was TNT said earlier, it kind of bites that we fought so hard for this victory only to be getting blackpilled like immediately thereafter.
Yeah.
It's not a good position to be in.
Yeah, very true. Just me commented, not going to lie, this kind of stuff is the whole reason I didn't want Trump in the primaries. And then followed up and said, I just didn't trust him because of the jab stuff. And, I was a little sketchy on his, the fact that he, took donations from the big pharma or whatever. That was something I didn't like. But I've always felt like he was still probably the best candidate that we had put forth. I definitely didn't want Nikki Haley. She was a Democrat in Republican disguise, essentially. And I didn't want DeSantis to end his governorship early. I probably would have been okay having Vivek give it a shot, but I don't think he would have actually stood a chance on such a short term with like such a short track record of being like a Republican, even. Which, you know, if he maintains the course for the next 4 years or 8 years or 12 years, depending on, you know, I believe it would either be 4 years or 12 years. Um, you know, he might be up in that presidential consideration. Lori is here. Good evening, everyone. Hey, Lori, how you doing?
You know, I would like to know what RFK thinks about the U.S. Surgeon General pick. I would like to hear from him what he thinks about someone who's got a track history like this, because we know that him and Trump do not agree at all on the jab stuff. And again, like I said earlier, you know, I agree with just me. I think that this is exactly what she's saying right there. In this comment here, I think
Yeah.
that was his answer to how he feels about 2020. That's
Mhm.
how he feels. He's like, I was right. It was the greatest. He said? What did you say? It's like the greatest.
Project Warp Speed was
Yeah, was like the greatest medical project in the last however many years.
CB. I agree. All's not lost. The Dems are in shambles. Take the W.
Yeah, well, I don't want it, CB.
I can't just win, okay? Gosh, I gotta just playing.
Yeah, we're trying to play it as soft as we can, Chris.
Yeah,
I feel like if we can't even say it like this, man.
like talking about Project Trump's pride and Project Warp Speed. I think might be
It's like a pro.
yeah,
YouTube's like, yeah.
yeah. I think that's probably okay. Fast-paced news cycle honestly just has my metabolism running high, and they can't keep up with me. That's funny. Anytime it's a deer season back home, and all my buddies in the hunting chat are like, "Can we please stop talking politics for a week?" And it's like, if we don't talk politics for a week, how much stuff we're gonna miss out on? Like, what are you talking about?
I know. It moves. Like you give it like what? Even when we're doing like now 3-day splits between our episodes, it's like there's still so much we can pick from. Yeah,
for real.
Wool's voice actually like kind of hurts my ears listening to him for a while. His voice is extremely deep. The bass in it kind of shakes me out.
My voice is way deeper than yours. What are you talking about?
It's part of the reason I had to get a new microphone too, so it picked up better. So I didn't sound very robotic. I appreciate it though. Thank you.
Yeah. Angry Yeti. If you ignore the product, Warp Speed was rather impressive.
Yeah, with the speed of it.
Yeah, considering like the normal time frame that it takes to get something like that approved and all that type of stuff, and set a precedent that if there is ever another, you know, pandemic type situation that we can possibly, possibly get the people to what they need, whether it be, we'll leave it there. That I don't want to act like I'm belittling anything.
Yeah, what were you saying specifically, Chris? So I can repeat it word for word right now.
Yeah, that's true, Cora. So, Scott Besant is definitely an F. That's the common theme of the night. I mean, we're filling up the F category.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes. And then many people didn't even know too. You know, it kind of went under the radar, but Dr. Oz was also appointed to like some kind of minor cabinet position that involves like Medicaid and Medicare services. And everybody, I mean, this is the guy who couldn't even beat Fetterman, dude. He right here.
Right, Dr.
Right
Oz.
there. Yeah. Mr. Barely Republican. And I think we even had him here on the outline too, but that's what it looks like, right? Unfortunately, Matt Gaetz is out. He's gone. He's not on the list anymore. So
Yeah.
we're left with now a bit of more of a lopsided list here. You know, we got some decent ones still remaining up here, but give it some time. And the Pete Hegseth allegations involving the sexual misconduct, who knows how long he'll be able to stay there. You know, there's a famous photo that's going around that has Matt Gaetz, Pete Hegseth, RFK, and Tulsi Gabbard. And I think it was Elizabeth Warren who posted it with a big X through Matt Gaetz' face, essentially saying like one
Like,
down,
one
3
down.
to go. Yeah. So like they're aiming to get these people out.
Yeah, exactly. They definitely are hoping. I mean, they're desperate for any wins right now. And unfortunately, Matt Gaetz backing out gave them a win. Anybody that was out
And-
there claiming that Trump's appointees aren't going to be certified, like, see, I told you. You know what I mean? That type of crap. And it's like, dang it, man. Couldn't you just wrote it through and put those Republicans to the test? And if they resisted on day 1 and day 2, then maybe back out on day 3, right? We could operate from day 3 instead of day 1. But give these Republicans a chance to actually like not just posture. Those 4 Republicans that were going to be against Gaetz, you know, rather than them posturing, give them the opportunity to stamp their name on a vote, right? Let the world see that they went and voted with the Democrats.
Right.
But that's all. It's all gone now.
And maybe somebody will surprise us, but I'm a natural black pillar. I'm naturally black pilled about these things, so I don't see it. I also don't really see the 4D chess, and I don't want to make other people feel black pilled about it. I hope I'm wrong. I would like to be proved wrong.
Yeah.
But if history doesn't repeat, it rhymes, and I just see another mixed cabinet that does not look good, boding well for the future.
Yeah, I like what CB said here. The way I see it is Trump built the house for a more America first and ideological pure leader to walk through the door. Yeah, I love that. I think that's actually a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Chris said pray hard. Yeah, definitely. JB asked, what is black pilled?
Yeah, so you know how there's like the red pill, there's the blue pill, and then there's the white pill and the black pill. So the red pill is like when somebody who is on like the left like realizes that like they're being lied to, they're like, I just got red pilled. It originally used to mean that's what the original use of it. It kind of made its way into the manosphere, where like red pilling is more like a guy wakes up to how bad like the female male dichotomy is. But that was the original red pill. It came from the Matrix, right? He's like holding the red pill,
Yeah.
and the blue pill.
Once you
The blue
take
pill-
the red pill, you'll see the reality and there's no going back. Once you see once you actually can see the truth,
Yeah.
there's no going back. The
And then
black
white
pill is
pill
a
and black pill.
suppository.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are just like they just piggyback off of it. So like to be white pilled is like this is something really good. Like this gives me hope for the future. And to be black pilled on something, you're like, oh no, like what's going on? Sadness. Woe is me. Feels bad, man.
Yeah. CB says black pill is depressed and white pill is optimistic.
Gen Z logo.
So moving forward, we got this one from Thomas Massey. His name was floated out there, and there's apparently a bait and switch type of scenario, I guess. You know a little bit more about this one. You wanna lead into this?
Yeah. Yeah, you may share it or you got it.
I got it shared. I put it on screen. At least the first one I got
Yeah.
up on there.
So this is so Dominic Michael Trippi is somebody who I follow and I like a lot. He's really close to Owen Schroyer, and him and Owen Schroyer kind of like, what's the word for that? They kind of like sit on the edge of the dissident right. They're not like Nick Fuentes level by any means, and they're not even really Milo Yiannopoulos level. But they do kind of sit on the edge of the framework, and they're a bit more alt-right than your average traditional podcaster would be. And that's just a bit of history who this guy is. But the reality was at the very beginning of the Trump appointments, when we were getting some of the initial picks, along with like the Marco Rubio leak, was that Thomas Massey was going to be tapped to be the head of agriculture. And what we actually get instead is Thomas Massey actually reports that no one from the Trump administration had been in contact with him, but Kelly Loeffler is going to be the pick instead. And so, for a bit more context with about Kelly Loeffler, we have a bit from the Hodge twins. I don't know if you wanted to put that one on screen, but Kelly Loeffler again
Yeah,
is another
done it.
kind of. She might even be an F pick, really. But it's looking like it. It's hard to defend her, and the Hodge twins saying that people don't trust Kelly Loeffler there. But this is a statement from Kelly Loeffler here. And so Laura Loomer's even against her too. And so you can just see that quote there. After the U.S. Capitol attack, Loeffler backed off her objection, saying on the Senate floor, "When I arrived in Washington this morning, I fully intended to object to the certification of the electoral votes. However, the events that have transpired today have forced me to reconsider, and I cannot now, in good conscience, object to the certification of these electors." So this is regarding January 6th. And she was saying, well, she was going to go along with Trump, but after seeing what happened on January 6th, like, I'm not going to do that anymore.
No, she's one of them.
Right. And so in the final moments, she stuck the metaphorical knife in Trump's back.
Well, I felt like
Wherein,
that was a
Pence like
cop-out.
high-fived.
Right. I felt like that was a cop out from those people. They were like, "Oh, thank God! Now I have a justifiable excuse that the mainstream media can back me for or back me on or whatever." Because she didn't want to go with Trump in the first place, and then it was like gave her an excuse to blame it and not have the blood on her hands essentially for not standing with Trump. So this is an odd appointment, especially over Thomas Massey. And I think I heard originally, which I played it on the channel a while back, that I'm drawing a blank on his name. I just had it in my head a minute ago. Well, I played the clip. You guys might remember it. There is the farmer guy was floated to be the head of agriculture. The dude that's regenerative farmer.
Yes.
I
I can't remember his name either. Hold on.
Oh man, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name right now. But this guy's written multiple books, and he's literally an expert at like not only growing Joel Salatin. Yeah, thank you. Not only growing food, but like regenerating the earth that they're growing the food out of. So like, a lot of what's the word I'm trying to say? The knock against a lot of farmers that they till the fields and they're basically sucking the nutrients out of the earth and not replenishing them like at the rate that they need to or just whatever. And Joel Salatin is like an expert at like growing big crops and not messing with the earth essentially. And I think his expertise would have been useful. Maybe he can be somebody that advises or whatever, but
No, he did get a position in the USDA.
Oh, he did.
Joe
Okay.
Salatin did. Yeah, so he would have been under Thomas Massey.
Okay.
But now it's going to be Kelly Loeffler who he'll be advising.
Okay, good. Okay, sweet. So it was an advisor role. Okay, so that makes sense, and that's good because I was kind of bummed out when I hadn't heard his name being repeated or anything like that recently. It was just that one like video where that dude was talking about it and it kind of explaining it, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. Yeah, rotating crops, sustainable farming. Yeah,
it's like the advisor to the secretary. It's like the term of the position. Because Joel Salatin actually gave a statement out like maybe a week or two ago, because confirming he was contacted by the Trump administration.
Good. I see Earl's daughter. This is cool. This is why God commands us to let the land rest every 7 years. Again, God has proved right. Yeah. Actually, keep that up on the screen. And so then we have this follow-up from Free Prince. It looks like Trump's cabinet is officially for sale. Just ask Kelly Loeffler, your next Secretary of Agriculture. The corruption here is palpable. The former CEO of Bakkt, BAKKT, is a cryptocurrency trading platform. And her husband, Jeffrey Spinkter, Sfercher, the CEO of Intercontinental Exchange, which owns Backed and the New York Stock Exchange, are reportedly finalizing a deal to sell Backed to Trump's Truth Social. And once you know it, Loeffler is conveniently being lined up for a cabinet position in the incoming administration. Nothing screams draining the swamp like auctioning off political power to the highest bidder. I did hear it said the other day that butthole, there it was, I can't remember the guy. He was just like kind of a fringe dude that was on Pierce Morgan show that I had never seen before. But he made a point that you're not going to ever take big money out of the government and out of these type of situations, no matter who the president is, unfortunately. And so this might fall under that category. I don't know, but it sounds shady so far. But continuing, let's break this down. Loeffler and Sfercher, I don't like his last name. I just want to call him Spinkter. Aren't just business tycoons. They're major players in the nexus of finance and politics. So it's her husband, but they don't have the same last name. That's odd. Loeffler,
She's a
after
girl
all,
boss. She does what she wants.
right. I keep trying to talk my daughter into keeping my last name whenever she gets married, but it's not going to happen. She's my only kid. Loeffler, after all, was appointed to the Senate in 2019 in a move widely criticized as a blatant forward for her connections, not her qualifications. Now, as this lucrative deal unfolds, she seems poised to cash in yet again, both financially and politically. Back's shares surged over 160% after the news broke, which Trump media saw a significant bump in value. So everyone wins, except, of course, the American people. Oh, man, I wish I would have bought some stock. This is blatant corruption and open auction for influence. Loeffler's path to the cabinet seat looks less like an appointment based on merit and more like a payoff for facilitating a multi-million-dollar deal that benefits Trump media. The lines between government and corporate power have always been blurry, but this is outright obscene. When those in power can trade government positions like commodities, which what chance do ordinary Americans have in a system rigged so brazenly from the top down? Who is this Free Prince? Because this sounds a lot like a Democrat who was saying what? That was saying that Trump's going to hire all of his billionaire friends and this and that or whatever. And
Unsure actually who Free Prince is. It's just one of the more like tweets that I saw.
yeah,
Let me see here.
So we might take that with a bit of grain of salt because they might just be trying to prove themselves right. But they included this picture that said Trump media is in advanced talks to buy the cryptocurrency trading firm Backed. The Financial Times reported Monday, citing two people with knowledge of the talks. The news sent shares of both companies soaring. Trump media, which is majority owned by Donald Trump, shot up by double digits minutes after the Financial Times report was published. The company, which operates a Truth Social app and trades on the NASDAQ as DJT, closed more than 16% higher. Dang. I don't like it when politicians get richer, but Trump's a businessman and he's kind of an outlier. But I still don't like on the surface what this appears.
Yeah, I just checked the follower list for people that I would know, and this account's actually followed by Thomas Massey, Luke Rudkowski, the Hodge twins,
Okay.
Red Pill USA, Mario Nafal, Harrison Smith. So a lot of people that I respect, unless they're like hate following this account. But just a quick fly through. He seems pretty more libertarian than I would say anything.
Interesting.
Very anti-establishment.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. So
yeah, he's definitely anti-Trump. I do see some of this in here. It's just no matter who you vote for, you always get BlackRock. So probably as someone who's a bit more of the what do you call that? The crypto anarchist is probably the slot
Okay.
he falls into.
Chris said we need to call for a referendum and get a vote nationwide to ban lobbying and stock trading. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's what Matt
JB
Gaetz is pushing on a joint
JB
thing
said-
with AOC.
Oh yeah, that's cool. We need to make Ukraine pay us back after the war is over too, which I think Joe Biden just tried to forgive them of that debt, right? Or he did? I think he did. Andrew said the same thing that you just said. I think Gates was going to take care of the stock trading within Congress.
One could only hope.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's unfortunate because Thomas Massey is probably my favorite person in Congress or the
Yeah,
House.
he is awesome.
Is it the same? I always mix them up. I don't know.
Yeah, Congress is both of them.
Okay.
Refer to Congress as both.
Okay. Okay. So, let's do this last one here, which is a little tidbit from Milo. He went on Timcast IRL the other night, and I think I worded it in my video that I posted today about him. He's either how did I say it? He's either a genius or oh, I can't remember now, but darn, I can't remember how I worded it, but the dude appears to be really smart. He presents really smart, but at the same time, you just don't know because the dude like admits that he's paid to like mess people up, like politically, essentially.
Disruptor. Well, he's got a stroke of Tony Stark in him.
Yeah.
If I was able to like compare him to like a fictional character, I just appreciate him because he's extremely genuine. You know, he can be crude, rude, obnoxious, and all of those things that you don't like, but be completely right the entire time. So probably a lot of the reasons that people don't like Trump, people don't like Milo for.
Yeah.
Obviously in two different kind of personalities, but I do appreciate Milo a lot.
Right. And Earl's daughter asked, so Gates is going back to Congress. The last I heard is no. He's not going to be a part of the 119th, which he was just recently elected to. So, which is unfortunate. And I don't know what he's going to do now. I guess it was floated that he might run for governor in 2 years, but I don't know why he wouldn't just step down in 2 years. You don't need no 2-year vacation. Or I don't know. I don't know.
I said at the top of the show before we went live, Matt Gaetz himself quoted it's like just like a question, I think, from somebody who was like, so Matt Gaetz is running for governor, and Matt Gaetz quoted it with the Florida state flag.
Okay.
So I think I'll take that as a yes.
So I mean, I'll vote for him, but is he going to take the job after I vote for him?
Yeah, you vote him in, and he's like, "All right, I'm
psych.
resigning. I'm
Give me
resigning."
5.
You know, people still floated he could be appointed to a special counsel as well to do investigations from like a parallel joint venture.
Right. So Earl's daughter, I thought the same thing for a second there, but whenever he mentioned that he was working on that, when Atlas mentioned that he was working with that bill with AOC, but that's something that they were actually talking about like a year ago, a little while back, right? That's not something new. That was something they were actually like been floating or trying to work on for a little while. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, let's just check this video out. This is funny, but Laura, I'll just set this up a little bit. Laura Loomer completely denies, unfollowed Tim on X, unsubscribed to Tim on YouTube, and basically I think she might have even threatened to sue him, like indirectly threatened to sue him, saying that she sued other people before for defamation or something like that. So it really
I bookmarked her tweet for that.
Pissed her off. Okay. Well, I'll share that after we watch the video, but this is just Milo just doing Milo things and pointing it at Laura Loomer. And so let's move that comment, take this banner down too, and we'll just check this out.
Laura Loomer.
Why was she brought
is
in
of course
to begin with? Though?
completely insane. And Laura was brought on into the campaign by Jason Miller, who is that sort of frog-faced, useless.
By the way, Milo is the only guy that I know that can get away with wearing a pearl necklace. Unlike what's his name? Tim Miller. That's always wearing the pearl necklace. Every time you see this dude, he's wearing a pearl necklace. Anyways, I always make fun of it whenever I have him on the channel. This Tim Miller dude. Yeah, I always gotta mention it. It gets a lot of comments. It's funny. But Milo can get away with it. I'll start it over so I don't interrupt.
You could. Batista is what Chris said. Dave Batista wore a pearl necklace, I think.
Yeah, but that wasn't the same kind.
Why was she brought
is
in
of course
to begin with? Though?
completely insane. And Laura was brought on into the campaign by Jason Miller, who is that sort of frog-faced, useless bag of never mind. But Jason Miller and Boris Epshteyn, who's the head of Trump's legal team, these are the two guys who were kind of like, oh yeah, Laura Loomer, maybe Laura Loomer. And so she gets on the plane, and then Laura Loomer claims to a bunch of people in Palm Beach, all of her friends around in Miami, that she had performed.
Family friendly.
Huh?
Monica
friendly.
Lewinsky.
I was going to say a sex act.
There you go. She alleged this. She alleged to people she was
Listen,
spreading those.
I love you and I try to take care of you. And do you know how difficult it is for me to talk like this on your show?
This is hilarious.
Do you know how hard this is?
A members only show.
Yeah, I'll say
we'll go off
or whatever it is. I can't. You know, it's been so long since I had sex. I did it the wrong way. I did it like that. It's just completely wrong. No, she claimed that she had performed a sex act on the president to a lot of her friends. And this, I was like, okay, all right, okay. So I got a call from somebody and they said, we need to get rid of her. The president wants to get rid of her, but he doesn't want to be the one to do it because she's crazy. So we don't want her turning on the president because so many people, so many followers and everything. So my job was to bring things about Laura to light that made her ineligible to be on the plane and around the president's circle. So for instance, she's not Jewish, she made it up. A friend of mine was there when she did it. She ordered a Star of David necklace off the internet so that she could be ruder about Jews in on stage at a rally in 2018.
Laura Loomer isn't Jewish.
She's not Jewish. She's the only person in history.
Wait, so
she's the only person in history. I submitted her for the Guinness Book of Records because she's the only person in history who's ever had a nose job to look more Jewish. It's the most amazing thing you've ever heard in your life. But I also
I've never heard that about her.
But she's not actually Jewish. When she
even ran for Congress, and that never came up.
Right. When she well, that's because I was a communications director. No, when
maybe did not a great job.
Sorry.
It sounds like things went sour with Laura, and you guys have a lot of bad blood, and you sank her as a result of that. Am I reading this right?
People do pay me a lot of money to clean up my own messes. I'm just realizing this now.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, so Laura is when Laura was going to give a talk to the Republican Jewish Palm Beach Coalition or whatever it is. She drew what she thought was a Star of David on the folder she was holding her speech in, the speech I'd just written for her, except it wasn't a Star of David, it was a pentagram. And I said, Laura, darling, can I have that folder back? And she's like, why? I'm on the way out. I got a speech to give. I said, yeah, I know you got a speech to give. I just wrote it. Can I just what? And I said, well, you've written it. She's like, yes, it's a star. It's Jewish. I want to speak Jewish. I said, well, but it's a pentagram. I said, what do you mean it's a pentagram? I said, well, that's the Satanism thing. That's 5 stars. The Jewish star has 6 stars. And I had to draw on a whiteboard the difference and ask her to copy it, and she couldn't. Copy the two.
Feels like
people will say because there's no difference. You couldn't.
He posted the video of this, by the way.
This is the first clue. Thank you. This is the first clue I had something was wrong. Anyway, and the second thing that I released was that in addition to her
That's what sank her among Trump.
No, her counterfeit Jewishness. What really sank her among Trump is he hates plastic surgery, and he wondered why she looked so weird. And when I told him it's because she'd had so many procedures, Trump is kind of like a bit repulsed by plastic surgery. That's the real thing that sunk her. But the other thing that I did that made her that expelled her from the circle, to the great applause and thanks of the campaign and his whole family, was that I revealed the real reason she can't own a gun. So Laura Loomer says that she can't own a gun or have an open carry license in California because the FBI is targeting her for being a conservative. But I have a letter from them, which I acquired, which in fact says it's because her own father had her committed in what we in California call a 5150, a forcible psych hold, twice. And that's why she's not allowed to own a gun, because she's mental. And so the headline was, why can't Laura Loomer own a gun? I asked the FBI, and her dad, Jeff. And I got her dad to I flipped her dad.
I'm just Milo doing Milo things, man.
Dude, he's a character.
He is a definite
He's the character, dude.
He's an oddity, but he's entertaining and but we must include Laura Loomer's denial and rebuttal.
Yeah, so what we're seeing is the second one. If you actually go down, it'll be the full one. But this was her secondary statement because she's quoting her original response.
I'm at the very bottom. Do you have it? Or are you talking about scrolling down here?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So she responded to her own tweet or something, right? Okay. So this is her post. I've completely lost all respect for Timcast, Tim Pool, after he allowed for the most defamatory and fake things to be spewed about me on his show last night. Zero pushback at all from Tim, and zero request to see evidence of any of the disgusting and false claims made on his show last night. Now, keep in mind, Tim Pool had her on and had to literally I can't believe he just said that. And he had to pull his live show straight off of YouTube because she went and she directly broke YouTube's rules. They were talking about treason and the consequences of it. And, I can't go any further because then I had to pull the show down, right? So she basically, she's been on there and Tim doesn't really have much respect for her in the first place, and he probably can believe some of the stuff. But, at the same time, Tim Pool doesn't vet people and say, what are you going to say about her before you say it or anything like that. People have the ability and right to say it, and then she can come out here and rebuttal it. But she says, you cannot make up allegations like those that were spewed on the show and pass them off as real news. I mean, I don't think anybody was passing it off as real news. It's a discussion forum. But anyways, the allegations made about the Trump family and President Trump's staff are also completely fake, and I can prove it. It's funny how Tim cried when Kamala Harris defamed him and said how horrible it was that he was defamed, but then he allowed for a known pathological liar who has been accused of being I won't say that, and was accused of having a major drug problem to come on a show and smear me with lies that are easily proven to be lies. I mean, it was hearsay, and he was telling a personal story about the Star of David thing. So, I mean, I don't know. Some of it appears to be true, but it's outrageous. Tim should be ashamed of himself. All my supporters should unfollow Tim Pool because apparently he has no standards or principles and has zero regard for the truth. She continued, I suppose he thinks it's funny to broadcast these lies in an effort to try to destroy my livelihood and my reputation and entertain these things as if they are true. It is well known that a person he had on his show works for Marjorie Taylor Greene, who paid to set President Trump up at Mar-a-Lago. That has also been documented, and there are people who work for for President Trump who are aware of the fact that the lies spewed about me last night all originated from Marjorie Taylor Greene. These are the same things she said about me when she tried to torpedo my job with President Trump when he hired me in March of 2023, and she has continued to use one of her own staffers to spread lies about me and President Trump. This same staffer who worked for and lived with Marjorie Taylor Greene hates me and President Trump and has a history of making claims about their desire to want to destroy and embarrass President Trump. So why would Tim take their word when it's very clear they have a vendetta against both myself and President Trump? I mean, this is her opinion, just as strong as Milo's opinion, is it not? And then so she continued to have documentation, text messages, and emails to prove that everything that was just said about me on the show last night is not true. And Tim Pool should correct the record instead of allowing for absurd lies of the highest order to be spewed on his show. I don't know how he could have text messages and emails to disprove what he was just saying. It would be a lack of text messages and emails. I didn't say those things to my friends. Those things don't exist, type of scenario. But I am unfollowing Tim Pool as well as I'm unfollowing Tim Pool as well. Since I have lost all respect for him, he showed me last night that he had no standards for the truth and he's not a good person. All Tim Pool cares about is money and himself, and he made that clear last night. And then, it's weird because I thought Tim Pool responded to her and they were going back and forth, but I couldn't find anything that Tim posted. So he either took his tweets down, his post down, or I was just wrong. But so there's no response.
I didn't see.
I searched in the quartering search. She made a video about it, and I couldn't find anything. But I could have swore that I was like, "Oh, I saw something," and I was like, "I got to get back to this," but I was busy at the time, and so I was like, "I'll just look up Tim later," because I wanted to actually make a video in itself of that little clip that we just watched, and then follow it up with a battle on X between Laura and Tim. But it seems to all just be Laura. She then said she's unfollowing for zero standards, used to respect his shows, now just trash TV. Tim should drop his defamation lawsuit against Kamala since he clearly doesn't have a problem with defamation. What a hypocrite and a phony liar Tim Pool has become. And I don't know why she showed this video.
Because it's just her unfollowing him.
Oh,
She's making a
okay.
spectacle out of it.
Okay. Oh, I unfollowed. Ooh. That's pretty funny. So I don't know.
Well, Milo did end up posting a good bit of evidence. I have queued up right now the video of Laura Loomer practicing to draw a Jewish star.
Oh,
because people kept spamming out about it. This
that's
is her.
hilarious.
Hopefully the audio is sharing too.
I don't hear anything.
Very
yeah.
good. They're almost identical.
Oh,
And
don't take photos of this. I don't want people knowing.
Yeah.
She don't want people knowing she doesn't know what it is.
I think the main thing to be taken away from this is the fact that Laura Loomer is entirely fraudulent. Everything about a lot of what she is very fraudulent. I think she is a very bad and poor actor. I think she's bringing some good things to the table. She's a fighter, which is what Milo was saying, right? They want her to stay in the circle and not turn against Trump, but also like still use her platform and what she is to drum up support, but just to distance herself from the top of the top. Why do you think you've not seen Laura Loomer getting any of these cabinet positions for as much as she's fought for Trump as well? It's funny because this is somebody who does get like multi-thousand likes on a lot of different posts as well, so it's hard to know who really believes who in this situation. But like a lot of people were saying in the comments too, just because of Milo's off-putting energy and the way he behaves, it's hard to believe what he says too. I'm someone who's a bit more keen to believe Milo on things too, over Laura Loomer as well, just based on his history. And also, well, too, you got to believe in the power of redemption.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you just got to believe in the power of redemption,
True.
Especially what, for being a Christian myself, I really don't care for a lot of things that Milo does as well. I think he's kind of a bit still too flamboyant for even the position he's in now. But he also doesn't go around and act as if he's somebody's preacher. Now, he did school a lot of Eliyahu like crazy over the Christian Foundation on that episode as well. That one also kind of felt bad too.
If you guys are interested in that, I posted that to my channel today. Did some commentary over it, and it was really excellent. So check that out.
It was great because you have Tim Pool joining in too. It's like a 5v1. Like everyone was like against Iliad on that because it was like Iliad is kind of drinking the Kool-Aid, right? He's drinking this very watered down Department of Education idea of what this country was founded upon. And, Tim Pool and Milo, that's when Milo at least shows a bit of his kind of genius where, you can say anything you want about him, to be honest, but you can't say he doesn't at least know what he's talking about. He's a good, maybe not debater, but he's very strong in arguing different positions. I thought that was also true with their episode that they did with, it's the guy, Tommy Robinson. That's who it was. When they did the episode with Tommy Robinson and they were kind of doing the Zionist versus Christian propositions, and arguing about like why America can't be an ethno state, but Israel gets to be an ethno state, and different ideas like that as well. So
yeah, it was good. I thought it was funny when Tim was like, Elad, you have no idea what you're talking about. It was just like telling him to basically shut the hell up. You have no idea what you're talking about. And it's just interesting that Tim Pool, he claims he's not a Christian, but he was when he was a kid. Yet he's so passionate about the founding of the country being basically founded on Christian values and stuff like that, which was cool. And Elad was trying to get like ticky-tacky about, well, they didn't say Jesus Christ, they just said under God. And it's like, come on, dude. I think at one point Milo says they weren't, he says, referred to something about they weren't talking about Jewish or Muslims, that's for sure. And the context that he used it was much more eloquent than I just said, but it was very well put and it made a lot of sense in the context. And if you're familiar with the religions, I believe the Jewish religion does not recognize Jesus as the Son of God, and they're still waiting for the Messiah essentially to come.
Yeah, it's even more so than that. Depending on how deep you want to get into it, but they actually hold disdain for Jesus, and some sects are different than others. But in the Talmud explicitly, it does say Jesus Christ is actually burning in hell.
Oh, that's right.
So like that's where you get into a bit more of this kind of esoteric argument, which is why Nick Fuentes has the following that he does, because he was one of the first ones to kind of start poking holes in this whole idea of Judeo-Christian values. But that's a whole other esoteric region to even be in, especially regarding just how politics sits as it is right now.
Right, Justin. Hey, I'm glad you stopped in, bud. Guys, Justin has a cool channel. You should check him out too. I assume a lot of you guys that are probably subscribed to me also know Justin, and they're you have checked his channel out. But he's a friend. And anyways, I appreciate you stopping in there, bud. But yeah, be careful. He was talking about saying the name, right?
Yep.
And the subject, I guess, But
go off platform for these kinds of discussions.
Yeah, for sure. So anyways, with that, I think we pretty much ran through the gauntlet. Did you have anything else that you wanted to mention? We gave out a bunch of Fs today on the cabinet appointments.
Feels bad, man. Feels bad.
Yeah, it does. Really tip the scale back the other way. Not too happy.
Yeah.
So we'll hope for the best, and we'll see. And that's one thing that we know about Trump is that he is not afraid to fire people. So hopefully if these people fail us, that Trump will be, in our corner and give them the boot, get to the next person that's willing to work for us. So
and thanks everybody for being here too. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, appreciate everybody. It's always fun having a great conversation. Saw some new people tonight. I appreciate you guys for being here and sticking around and joining in on the conversation. Consider if you're anyone that's we're gonna win, CB. If you haven't yet, consider joining the Discord. The link is in the description of my video. and I think you put in chat earlier on yours, but
Yeah.
follow us on X. Follow me on X. I'm at Worrell. But yeah, I'd like to see you guys over in the Discord. It's growing slowly, and it just gives us an opportunity to know everybody and create a little family over there and stuff like that, and take show recommendations, and also potentially get to know some folks a little bit better and have them on the show as well. I'd really like to see. I'd really like to talk to. I'm drawing a blank on your name right now.
Talking about from earlier, House Leotardo.
Leotardo, yeah. I'd like to see you over there just because I'd like to have you on, man. You have some good takes and stuff like that. That'd be cool to talk to you and see if we can maybe get you on for a little guest thing or something like that. Justin, you should come on one of these weekends, man. But yeah, you got anything else to add?
No, yeah, that's all that I can think of that I had seen, at least to update for everybody for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking forward to Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Cool. Yeah, we'll see you guys Wednesday at 6. Justin said he's down. So yeah, we'll talk about it in Discord. And Christ is King.
Amen. Everybody have a good night.
Yep, you guys have a good night.
Let's roll the Atlas Dog. We here to bring the truth. Jar open this podcast. We breaking through the fake news. They try to silence us, but we will be subdued. We're bearded alpha males here to save the youth. Spitting fire on the mic with the bass Christian takes. Exposing the lies, keeping the demons at bay. We ain't afraid to speak up. We won't be swayed. Jar open this podcast where the truth is laid. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas Dog. We're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. We ain't playing games, we're on a mission to awaken the masses with our intuition. Pulling out the corruption with no inhibition. Jar open this podcast, sparking a revolution. We're not afraid to stand tall in a world full of deceit. We're the voice of reason, bringing light to the street. Keeping it real, never missing a beat. Jar openers podcast, where the truth meets the heat. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas Dog, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. Jar openers podcast, where the truth will never cease. Join us on the journey to bring back peace. We're rolling Atlas Dog, fearless in our release. Jar openers podcast, where the lies will decrease.